Last time on Tales of Gielinor. So Alcana, we started off with Alcana, who did she meet with? God damn it. I'm sorry.
Nerissa.
Nerissa. Oh yes, we met Nerissa, and you found out that she is a shit, I'm so bad right now. She's a siren who
Actually, a half.
Half Ernic, not a siren.
I am Narissa von Bloodmont, narrator, watching here.
Sorry, miss.
I am part of a shield sworn, an order belonging to Alcana, and I have come to aid her in her mission to the Isle of Juniper.
Thank you. That was much more graceful than how I'm doing right now. And then, Natrix made his way back to the B&B, after hustling and bustling, and he saw what did he do? Wave.
I don't know. He saw some people building something, but that was no big thing. But then he met up with Worsund.
I'm sorry, I'm really bad with. Worsund stood in the center of the square, shared quarters, and like apparently they're roommates now, and that's great. And basically, what happened was Alcana sent out a bunch of letters to everybody, talking about how it's time to go to the Isle of Juniper. And after some shenanigans, we all well, actually, before that, before we all met, we tried looking for Alcana tried looking for Loki, and the only thing that she was able to find in his room was a book on the occult, and some other interesting things that kind of implied that he might be, the reason why he's absent might be a little more sinister. We don't know.
And
but then
also a lot of trashy adventure novels.
Yeah, but a Sir Kate Ian? Gets a little seamy sometimes. And then, yes, we all meet up in the bar, and we all essentially talked battle strategies and on how we would get to this island. But in the middle of the conversation, Jarmak came in, and he sat across the table, at like in the corner. And Alistair and Alcana both had a little conversation with him, talking about how he basically let us know that there's an island to the southwest that we can jump onto the island with, and he did really try to tell us, hey, listen, don't go on that island. You're gonna die, idiots. And then after that, everyone. Was there anything else we did after that other than just going on the boat? I don't think so.
I mean, you might have met another new friend.
Looks over the notes.
We met a particular wizard.
We met Jeremy. What is wrong with? Okay, so then after that, we all went to. I think in the morning we all went to breakfast, and then we met. And then we met the wizard Peyton, and he is a Western wizard who was from the Wizard's Tower, and he wasn't very happy with how conservative they were with how how far they'll go for their knowledge. So he essentially was bullied into the group, and yeah, he wants to go to the Isle of Juniper so that he could study the the types of animals and creatures there, correct? Or any kind of wildlife.
Dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Pretty much, yeah, indeed. And with everyone gathering on the ship, sort of late morning, you exited out through the open water locks of the refurbished golems, pulling whatever clothing you have around you closer in this chill midwinter air as you set out into the open ocean. And so, what I want to ask, first of all, since I posed it before, but Commander Alcana, but Captain of the Lady Escapade, will the Lady Escapade be taking the trade routes, or will it be taking the long way around?
After some discussion in the Squad Goals channel that lasted quite a long while, I would say the trade routes, because we don't want to arouse suspicion that we're trying to do anything off color.
All right. So, as you begin steering the Lady Escapade, taking control at the helm, the members of your crew who are proficient as seafarers operating the lines, I want to ask, do any of you have proficiency with navigator's tools?
I think Don does.
I can say that I don't.
They're called
Singer did, but she's not
navigators.
here.
Navigator's tools?
Mm-hmm.
I thought I got something like
So, I
Can we
don't
pretend
have.
we have?
I don't have proficiency with navigator's tools, but as knowledgeable wizards, maybe I know something about astronomy and maybe navigating by looking at the stars. I mean, it's a stretch. But...
Is seafaring like that?
Seafaring is it's a little bit different than that. Seafaring is sort of all the sort of nuts and bolts of knowing how to operate the ship. The navigation is a little bit separate.
Okay. Yeah. Because that's what Don.
I'll say Peyton, if you want to pipe up to the group, tell them that you know a little bit about astrology. I'll let you make on. Let's see. Would this be a nature check or an arcana check? I'll say I'll let you make a nature check, but it's going to be a pretty high DC.
Well,
Before you do that, since Rond makes me do this,
This is what it says
yeah.
right there in the player's handbook, dude.
Josh, let me do my thing. Now you go.
Yes. So as you guys, as your ship is sort of bobbing along on the open water, how does Peyton introduce that he has this skill to everyone?
Oh, I have to remember his voice now. Excuse me. Arcana?
Yes, what is it?
I couldn't help but notice that you have some problems navigating.
Yes, what about it?
Well, I recall researching astrology some years back. I think I could, with a clear view at the stars, I think I should be able to tell our relative place and direction.
I see.
Is it nighttime?
It's not nighttime right now, but with a knowledge of astrology, you could probably pick out certain things are visible. But so is Peyton, looking at his books, looking at his notes, trying to figure out.
Was it nature you said?
Yeah. Very nice. So,
Yummy,
uh,
yummy.
Plus
that was
three.
actually the DC that I had in mind. Exactly.
Oh
Bloody
wow!
hell.
Easy.
But yeah, you look through your books, Peyton, and are able to kind of pick out, even from the few sort of celestial bodies that are very, very faintly visible, even in this sort of gray winter daytime sky. And you know that you'll definitely be able to pick out a lot more once it gets dark.
Ah, yes, let me see. Yeah, and he starts taking notes. Kind of missed the old voice, but I can't remember how I did it.
So, Alcana, tell me, is the Lady Escapade flying any colors?
Huh. I think it would basically be flying the standard Hiranu colors. She'd
All right, so you've raised high the flag of Horanu. Uh, you have it sort of just fluttering in this very brisk breeze. Um, and this ship, it's not an especially speedy ship. It's very sturdy for its size, but not especially fast. It can go from about 25, between 25 and 40 miles per day. So I'd like everyone who's proficient in seafaring, go ahead and give me a seafaring check.
21.
22.
Damn it.
How is the captain have the lowest seafaring roll here?
She's busy being captain.
She
Yeah,
needs her
you're
morning
occup-
coffee.
That's right. Or else it hasn't kicked
Wait.
in yet.
Isn't Werson's proficient in seafaring?
+2, so no.
No, +2 is proficient. It should be.
Wasn't it free?
I'm pretty sure it was 2.
I'll roll fine. See?
Damn, we're all doing pretty good.
Huh, guess it is. Oh well.
Dang, you all did real well. All right. Yeah, so you're able to, well, not go the full 40 because you didn't start right early in the day, but you're able to say, let's say as much as 35 miles, because that's pretty good. So you swing around, navigating among the islands of the Scythe. That's not how seafaring works. It's kind of a custom stat. Anyways, as you guys very expertly, without any issue at all, not seeming like it's a brand new ship to you, kind of bring it into an easy, excuse me, sort of an easy speed. You make a lot of distance as it gets into evening. However, as it does get into evening, you feel much more acutely the chill in the air. You can even occasionally get this little bit of a mist coming up off of the ocean. It is very cold. It is winter. You're in the middle of the sea. How are you guys dealing with that?
I am going to cast Drewcraft and predict the weather if there's, because the weather is important to know when you're on the boat. So, wait, yeah, the first effect.
For the next 24 hours. So, you sort of hold out your hand, and you get this little image of a kind of a slightly cloudy orb, or I'm sorry, I'm reading the way that this is supposed to manifest in the skill. Anyway, you get the sense that there'll be kind of like sort of a light rain, almost a misty rain in this location for much of the next 24 hours. However, it also occurs to you that you won't be in exactly this location 24 hours from now.
Well, hopefully it's a general idea of what's happening in the area. Okay, so nothing particularly dangerous. It seems like.
Akana just seems to mostly have pulled her cloak around herself and mostly just seems to be toughing it out.
Peyton crouches down in a corner and focuses on his staff, and it glows slightly, giving him some minor warmth.
Worsens would like to grab his clothes, use prestidigitation to warm them up, and then wear them again.
Wow, that's pretty good. All right. So, are you going to do that for the entire night?
I mean, yes.
All right.
The boy has to be warm, you know.
Okay. Very good. So you, as it gets towards the evening, I want to ask, are you guys going to try to keep the ship sailing all throughout the night, or are you just going to kind of, most of you try to hunker down and just sort of take shifts keeping it steady?
It would probably be wise to take shifts.
Yeah.
Actually,
How many of us would have to be awake at a time to keep it moving?
It's a pretty simple ship. So one of you would probably have to be awake at all times just to make sure that the lines stay okay, that it doesn't drift too far off course. But if you're going to keep it actually moving, you're going to need like at least half of the crew active at all times.
so
like at least 3 people.
Ron, real quick.
Yes.
Does it all count as light activity?
Operating a ship doesn't really count as light activity. It's a bit more complex than that.
Well, I'm thinking that Narissa would ask around and look for whatever light activity needs to be done. And that's the basics. To not something too heavy, mind you.
Yeah. Also, Narissa doesn't have proficiency in seafaring.
No, she doesn't. And but you know what she does? Not need sleep.
What's that?
She doesn't need sleep.
Okay.
What?
Here we go.
Bruh.
All right. I want you to go ahead and roll an intelligence check for Narissa to see if she's competent enough, not really for seafaring, but just to. Oh, wow. Even with a -1. Yeah, I'll say that she can't really keep the boat moving, but she's able to at least make sure the lines don't get twisted, make sure that the boat doesn't start listing, all of that kind of stuff. That Alcana is able to kind of show her.
Worry not about me, Alcana. As a follower of the All-Mother, she has blessed me with the gift of not having to rest my body as much as you do. I feel this will be quite valuable to us.
You
Would
don't
not agree?
say. That's quite valuable indeed, though we're certainly not in any rush, so we're certainly not in any rush like we were last time we were sailing, so I got like this, so well, let's just say, barring urgent circumstances, I don't think we need to concern ourselves too much with night travel. Just keeping up the
Excellent.
float will be fine.
Ah, excellent. That means I can read more of my book in the meantime, when I'm not required.
I suppose so. You're not wrong.
But yeah, she does the things she's good at.
Hmm.
All
Uh,
By the
right.
way, Don's angry because he
Ron,
doesn't have a mini jacket.
Ron,
Yes.
out of curiosity, how big is this ship in feet?
This ship is just 50 feet long, which means it's a little bit shorter than that for the area that you can navigate, and about 15 feet wide.
Okay. Hmm. Shame.
All right, so while Narissa is kind of just making sure that the lines don't get tangled, the ship uh, stays level. What do the rest of you guys do?
Can Don be in like the crow's nest and keep watch on his ship?
Yeah, it's again, it's much smaller sort of ship, so there's not exactly a crow's nest. But if Don wants to fly up to the top of the mast, then he can.
Hell yeah, he does that.
Don just keeps watch through the night.
Yeah. But like I think he eventually goes to sleep.
Okay, all right.
Do not worry, little one. Should anything arrive, my perceptive eyes that Elmother has gifted me will surely spot any danger approaching. You have my word.
Even if
And she curtsies to
they're giant octopuses and stuff like that.
especially for giant octopi. She kind
Don
of
make
giggles.
Don make a religion check.
Okay. God.
Yeah, you kind of think about religion a little bit and think to yourself, "Hey, that's something that a lot of people do."
Sounds good to me.
Go ahead and make a perception check just for fun, Don. Make it with disadvantage because it's dark at this point.
Okay. You said perception, right?
Yeah.
12.
So you look out on just these, at this point, black, roiling waters. You feel the chill of the mist on you. You don't see anything. Nothing that seems like a threat. Ship just kind of bobs in place.
Something the matter, small one?
No, I'm fine. I just, making sure there's no, rainbow ships coming or something like that. Anyways, I'm gonna head to bed.
I'm sure any ships won't come from under the water, but I will not be surprised if they do. Sleep well, little one.
He's a little unnerved by that last sentence and he just flies away.
So are the rest of you guys hunkering down on the open hull, trying to sleep?
Pretty much. And even Alcana recognizes, there's nothing urgent going on, and, they don't necessarily need to haul ass or anything, so it would probably be better to just conserve her energy for when they really need it.
Are there like quarters for each person, or how are we sleeping?
No, there's no cabin on this ship. This is
Okay,
like an
so
open nar.
I'm gonna interrupt you and gather the party around to me and say, look, guys, you don't need a cabin. You got the world's greatest barred house salesmanship for the low price of. They kind of stares at Alistair and sees that he has already done the joke, so it's not worth repeating. So he just sighs and still smiles with a finger up and says, "Thanks to the great power that the sirens taught me, I can now create a tiny hut. Specifically my own version of a tiny hut, which fits most of us. He kind of counts on his fingers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then smiles and nods at them.
Shotgun.
I don't think you realize how a tiny hut works, right?
What?
I'll just show it to you. And with that, Worsen, does the thing where he takes out a small, like, circle-ish, kind of like a pearl thing, throws it in the air, and after a few seconds, it lands on the ship, and it turns into a small dome, like a tiny hut. And I'll actually display the card so you know what it is.
Very nice. So, you guys see as this sort of very dully glowing dome appears, apparates around you in the middle back of the ship. And within it, you guys, let's see, does it? Oh, yeah, atmosphere inside is comfortable and dry. And so immediately the mist stops. You feel much warmer than you did with this chilling sea air. You feel like you can actually settle down and have a decent night's sleep without worrying about freezing to death.
I gotta thank Kanula for this one later.
Weston, you're a legend. I didn't bring a jacket.
That was very well prepared of you.
Thanks. I literally had it for months and used it every day. It became my own little hut.
Hey, you don't gotta pay rent.
Exactly.
Yeah, Notrix, you've seen this many times, but what's the expression on Peyton's face when he sees this display?
Sort of, when he sees Worsen cast it, he raises an eyebrow and then just sort of huffs a bit. I wouldn't exactly call it a hut.
You're not a hut.
Nice
No,
one, buddy.
I'm not.
But you have a very nice hat. So come on in. Enjoy the warmth.
I suppose it can't hurt.
It really
Right.
can't.
So, as Peyton enters the hut, the night passes in surprising comfort for most of you. I'd like for Narissa to go ahead and make a Constitution saving throw.
Oh boy, here we go again.
On the road again.
Crap.
So, as daylight yawns, you come out to the gray sky of the morning, a bit of a chill, a bit of a dampness to it. You see that Narissa is out here by the mast, shivering very deeply, chilled to her core, looking like there's, ice inside of her. Narissa, you are exhausted.
That is to be expected of our royalty. Do not fear for me. The All-Mother wanted me to endure this test. You can kind of see her chilling, but she tries to play it tough.
The mother wanted you to freeze to death? Why'd you come inside the hut?
No, it was her test for me today. She wants to keep testing my resolve, and I am willing to follow up on her will whenever needed.
Well, look. And I point at our little sundial. It's morning now, so maybe the test is over, and you could give yourself a little break.
Huh. I could use some time to read my book. I was just getting to an interesting chapter. I don't suppose you would understand it, but I would like to finish it today, if that is alright with you all.
You'd certainly earned it.
Alistair, I'd like you to go ahead and make a religion check.
Okay.
Alistair.
Alistair, as you look at Narissa saying all of this, you notice, and it's not like you hadn't completely, like it takes you completely by surprise. You'd sort of notice there was something going on underneath her hood before, but especially with her deep shivering, you can see the horns under her hood. You can see her unusually colored skin, and you suddenly get this deep feeling of revulsion, like within the pit of your stomach. Like you are looking at something unholy, something demonic. There's something that gives you this deep feeling of unease about this person.
Alistair just kind of, he lets this sink in for a second. Then he remembers, wait a minute, that's Saradominus talk. He just kind of shakes it off with his Gathixianism.
With his Gathixianism. Same, buddy, same.
But you watch as Narissa kind of goes to the back of the boat and tries to rest off her unfortunate exhaustion from the night keeping watch over the boat. But now, for the rest of you, or the rest of you who are proficient with seafaring, I'd like you to go ahead and make seafaring checks for this day.
Seafaring. Nice.
Oh, Captain. Oh, Captain Y.
Oh, that's everyone. So,
Captain, no.
oh, under our new foresight rules, whenever you roll a natural 1, you get a point of foresight. However, we also get to roll on the botch table. So let's see what happens here.
Wait, who got a natural 1? Alcana?
Alcana, yeah.
Oh, she did. Oh my god. It wasn't red
Going
for me
off
for
red,
some
by the
reason.
way. It doesn't display it on the
So
that's
actually,
So what do I roll?
I think I'm not sure if you can see the tables when you go to the collection section on Roll20. Can you see the rollable tables?
Collection section.
I can see it, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean collection?
It's the one right next to settings.
Right next to what?
Settings.
Oh.
But the cog thing.
Oh, okay. So there's a botch table for combat and one for non-combat.
Oh, botch table. There we go.
Did you find it, Alcana? Okay. So, let's see. So, Alcana, you do get a point of foresight. However, as you guys are kind of piloting this boat, taking it further, deeper into the ocean, you at one point, Alcana, as the winds start to pick up and kind of blow away the mist, you direct everyone to pull very hard on the lines to try to sail kind of into the wind and break out to avoid being pulled off course. And though you do successfully avoid being pulled off course, some of the lines actually snap, and you have to spend kind of the rest of the evening as it gets dark replacing that with the extra lines that you had brought along on the ship.
Can I assist in that at all with my mending spell? Is that applicable?
Huh.
I also have mending.
Yeah. Oh, hey. All right. I'm going to say I'll let you guys try to mend that, but the thing is, these lines, they're big, they're kind of complex, so I'm going to make you do an additional spell casting roll for that. So, Notrix, go ahead and make a wisdom check to see how effective you are.
Wait, all of us can like mend it, or
That's a spell.
No, that's specifically a spell. But yeah, while it takes you a little while kind of going over each individual piece of sailcloth and rope, you are ultimately able to, once they've replaced the lines with the spare lines, to pretty much mend this. So you've ultimately still have your extra lines if you need.
I wanted to ask like if all of us who have mending use mending, isn't that like helping more or?
Oh.
I mean, he already succeeded.
Yeah,
I'm just too
just
good,
wanted
don't
to
worry.
clarify. Carry on.
I mean, if everyone was helping, I could have given him an advantage, but you know, it doesn't need it. He succeeded. He did well.
I pet Natrix on the.
So as it's getting into
Thank you.
another
I'm
evening,
sorry about that.
Good show indeed. And Laris just flips through a book, not really realizing what happened. She's tired.
Notrix, go ahead and make a religion check.
Okay.
Yeah. You think about religion and think, hey, I'm kind of religious.
Yep. Fair
I
enough.
really has to be.
Now, I want to ask, what does Peyton do all day while Narissa is recovering and these guys are all working the ship?
I think he's taking notes on two things in particular. Number one is Don. One of the pages in his small notebook or notepads, whatever it is he actually has, is like filled with equations that are scratched out and revised. He's trying to figure out something about Don, but
How Don ticks.
he can't exactly make it. It doesn't exactly make sense to him, so he keeps revising it. And the other is Narissa making notes like subject has a blue complexion, blah blah blah, seems to have reaction to blah blah blah. And I think at the end of the day, he is going to cast a detect magic spell.
Well, before you do that, Peyton, I'd like you to make either a stealth or a sleight of hand check.
Oh, one of the things I don't have plus 11 to. Oh, the horror.
My eyes are up here.
Yeah, Don and Narissa. Well, Narissa notices it, but only vaguely because you're kind of zonked out from your night before. But Don, especially, you notice that this wizard keeps like furtively staring at you and giving you glances, and you're not sure if he's freaked out by you or if he wants to start something or what it is.
Don's ready to fight him.
What?
Are you interested in something?
Yeah, you need
Wizard?
something, buddy? Yeah. What are you looking
You
at?
two. You seem a bit unusual. You.
Are we not
And he
all
points down.
unusual, Mr. Wizard?
Yeah, what you trying to say?
You. Dawn?
Yeah, that's me.
Are you a fairy?
Yep.
Fascinating. Now tell me, how is it that your wings are able to generate enough thrust to keep you in the air?
I flap him?
So you don't know how. Interesting. It must be
But-
some sort of subconscious magical field or something of that nature.
Like, gives him a weird look like, oh god.
Now, Larissa?
It is Narissa von Bloodmont, Mr. Wizard.
Ah, a noble. How interesting. So, blue skin. Is that the result of some sort of magical mutation?
Once she hears this wizard calls her Blueskin, she just closes her book, looks at him with a serious expression, and says, "Do you wish to be executed, Mr. Wizard?"
What? I beg your pardon?
And that even Don, like, opens his eyes like, whoa!
I assure you, madam, I meant no offense, or I didn't mean to break any of your people's traditions. I merely sought to advance my understanding of magic.
If you wish to do that, there are gentler ways of approaching it, Mr. Wizard.
All right, so have you or any of your closest family been in proximity to anything magical recently?
She opens her book again and but still keeps an eye contact with him, and with a frown she says, "The only magical thing that you wish to know is my connection to the All-Mother, my guardian and savior."
Ah, yes. It's probably more of this mysterious faith-based magic. I've had some difficulty researching into in the past. Very well. I'm sure the All Mother is all wise.
That she is, Mr. What was your name?
Peyton, and it is Wizard, madam. It's a title. Wizard Peyton.
Well, Mr. Wizard Petros. It is, I would say it is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, but it was good knowing you for the moment. And she returns to her book and pretends he doesn't exist anymore.
Eccentric, isn't she, Fairy?
Wait, say that again? Sorry.
Eccentric, isn't she, Fairy?
Yeah, so are you. You know.
Try not to
Weird way.
harass each other too much while we're out on here. We don't need to cause any unnecessary distraction.
Ah, yes, of course not. Of course not.
Mr. Wizard Pagon started it, though.
And he just pockets his notebook again. So, Fairy, Dawn.
Yeah.
Would you consent to an examination, a magical examination?
What?
I wish. What did you say?
A what?
Well, I wish to cast a spell to see if there is anything magical about your being.
Is it gonna hurt?
I have never encountered anyone who have been harmed by it in the past.
I squint. Can I do like an insight check to see if this will actually hurt?
Sure.
Why, of all things?
So,
Tap.
Peyton, will this hurt?
I mean, it's just a detect magic spell, so it shouldn't.
Yeah. You get the sense that he definitely doesn't think that it'll hurt, that he has no reason to think it'll hurt, but also that he probably wouldn't care too much if it did hurt. But you definitely feel like it won't hurt.
So I definitely feel like it won't hurt, but at the same time, I feel like you wouldn't care if it hurt. You know what? If you leave me alone, yeah, sure, go ahead.
Ah, excellent. This will only take around 10 minutes. I need to cast the spell.
10 minutes, jeez. All right, get it over with.
Can Narissa also use detect magic?
Sure, yeah.
Girl, you didn't consent.
Shh. She's doing it while reading her book. Shut up.
Yeah. So you guys both are detecting just magic around. You detect that a few of your crewmates are definitely carrying magic items. Narissa, you detect magic in the books that Peyton keeps on him, and a little bit of faded magic in the staff that he carries. You guys detect magic on some of the other people, a little bit on Notrix, a little bit on Alcana. But let's see. Peyton, go ahead and make an Arcana check. Man, you can roll terribly and it's still good. Yeah, you definitely detect some magic on Dawn. And, you'd expect to detect some magic. It's a fairy, it's an inherently magical being. But that there's definitely something else there. And the type of this magic that you can faintly pick up, kind of behind the regular sort of face signature of this odd creature, is something very unusual to you, something that you haven't seen before, but you couldn't begin to speculate as to what it is.
Fascinating. This is very interesting.
Probably just see my fairy magic, right? And that's it.
Well, there's... Well, I must admit I'm not exactly familiar with what fairy magic consists of, but there is something new here. How exciting.
Uh-huh. And I kind of squint at him more. And I say, can I go now?
I mean, fairy, the spell has a range of 30 feet. You could always go.
Oh, great, later!
And you move 30 feet away,
Yes, because he's
like
creeping
just to
him.
the front of the boat.
I chill on like the little mermaid statue
Yeah.
in the front.
I mean, he's right there. He can see you. You can see him.
He
Yeah.
looks at me. I look at him.
I feel a little violated, but other than that,
So Peyton, since you spent a big chunk of the day taking notes on Narissa and interviewing her, I'm gonna say make another religion check.
Oh, I feel like this is one of the times my bonus might actually not be helpful.
Can somehow I... Oh, wow.
I think that's the highest roll we've ever seen.
oh Oh my god!
hmm
So yeah, in the Dungeon Master's Guide, rolls of 30 are meant to do things that are nearly impossible. So Peyton, it's something that you researched that was part of your studies a long time ago that you'd nearly forgotten. But after spending, a couple of full days with her, observing her, taking notes on her, you realize what this Narissa is. That she is something called a hapfernic, and that these creatures are, most people have never seen them, most people have never heard of them, but they're supposedly the offspring of the infernal generals, commandos of Zamorak in the God Wars, and his human soldiers, and that their descendants are still active, still have colonies, have reputations as cutthroats deep in the lands of Forinthry. And most people who've never delved Forinthry, which is most people, would never even have heard of them. But you learn that, or not learn, but you remember, now that you've taken all these notes, the pictures comes together, that she's one of these creatures of some sort of infernal heritage. Though you also know from what you've read, though this is more speculative, that these creatures do not actually have an innate tendency towards either chaos or order. That they're kind of essentially just weird looking humans, but that they're definitely create this feeling of unease and a lot of times open hostility in the people around them.
And at this realization, Peyton's eyes widen slightly, and he just buries himself in his notes, writing frantically, without looking up either at Narissa or anyone else for probably a good hour or so.
All right. So as it gets into the evening of the second day, are you guys doing the same thing that you did the night before? Worsen makes a dome and you guys sleep in?
I mean, I see no reason why the arrangement would change. So
And I'll just do
Yeah.
a weather check before we all start to sleep, just in case. Well, we know we're not going to be overcome by a storm in the night.
All right, you make a check and you find that it seems like it'll be overcast the next day, but that it should be clear, at least in this particular spot.
Okay.
And is Narissa, now that she's rested all day and gotten over her exhaustion, is she going to keep watch in the night again?
I mean, yes.
All right.
She's a very dutiful woman.
All
you
right,
know?
another Constitution save, please.
Maybe you should figure out a way to keep a bit warmer.
Yes, it's not as damp this evening as it was the evening before, and Narissa, you're able to kind of gather some of the other furs that, or cloaks that other people don't need, snug and warm as they are under the dome, where you're oddly not invited, and yeah, keep yourself warm, keep yourself much more active, and manage to just hold the boat steady as you get.
Actually, I think that not that she's not invited, but more that she feels more of a duty for her. And in fact, I would say that she was invited, but she said, "No, I have my duties to attend to, as every day I do."
Oh, actually, yeah, I guess it's Worsend who chooses whether to invite her. Worsend, to make a religion check. Yeah, Worsend, you kind of give out that invitation, but as soon as you do, you get this deep feeling of revulsion as you look at this stranger with these demonic features. And you feel like you shouldn't feel so repelled by her as you do, but you can't get over this sort of gut feeling within you, and you feel sort of secretly glad when she rejects your invitation.
personally speaking, I wouldn't think Worsen is like that, but okay then.
This is kind of something that you almost can't control. This is so deep seated in the culture that you come out of, Worsend. Even though you have a slightly different background than others, you still kind of chose not to grow up in
Feel,
exactly
okay.
that background.
So he feels it slightly. Gotcha.
Yeah.
If Nerissa does probably stay up the night again, Alistair would probably, because of what happened in the morning, go out and sit next to her for a little bit.
All right. So Alistair kind of biting down these sort of feelings of discomfort that you shouldn't feel, and you manage to kind of tamp them down and go and sit by Nerissa deep here in the nighttime. The stars are obscured. There's a marine cover over you. So it's just like the dark of night all around you. What kind of expression does Nerissa have as Alistair comes and sits by her?
I'm guessing she would be too focused on either spending some time with her book or... Well, I would say that she's kind of confident, and I guess it's kind of a bored expression on her face. I think that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, if she didn't say anything after like 5-10 minutes, he'd probably speak up eventually. I'm assuming she's not going to.
She just she at first nods and doesn't really speak that much at first.
Yeah. After like 10 minutes, he finally just. Nerissa, was it?
That is correct, sir. I am quite sorry. I should have asked Sister Alcana to tell me your names. That was a little bit of my fault.
Alistair.
She at first kind of looks at Alistair and then, like, with a confused expression, and then looks at you and says, Alice where? Is that correct?
Close enough.
What brings you to my not so humble watch over the night sky?
Well, in truth, this morning when we all woke up and you were out here, you were shivering a lot, which that's not weird. It was cold, trust me, I know. But I did overhear part of your conversation with the wizard, and obviously I don't want to screw up like he did, but you're friends with Alcana with me. I trust you. But what? Who? You understand what I'm trying to ask, right?
You wish to know how I came to be. Is that not correct?
I guess.
Well, suffice to say, I would rather not divulge these matters with anyone besides a fellow member of a Shieldsworn. You must understand, surely.
I do, actually. I can understand being cautious with strangers. I just figured I'd ask.
And now you have your answer. Perhaps next time, when you visit Edgeville and you'll meet Sister Narcine, you might be able to become one of us. Although I do not think that you are the holy and righteous of types. If you were, then she sighs and looks down, somewhat saddened. I guess you would have already done something about me, wouldn't you have?
Well, I guess if I was, I would have, but I don't really give much thought or much weight to religion. People are people. Humans are no better than demons or whatever other races there are. Trust me, I've seen the worst of humanity.
You are very wise to think such of religion. I must say, you see, have you picked this up from Sister Alcana by chance? I'm. You don't have to tell me if it is true or not, but I want to know how much she has taught you.
Truth be told, I think I taught her more than she taught me. But aside that, no, it's not something I got from her. It's just how I've always been.
Ah, I see you are a man of culture. Very good. Very good. I would offer you some tea, but I am quite far away from home, you see. All I have is this book of mine to keep to pass my time.
He kind of tries to glance over at the book, if she lets him.
I guess she would let him have a peek. You know, nothing too big. Probably something that he'd understand.
Or to see if she even sees him, I guess. I don't know.
So I'm guessing I just say what's the contents of a book or I show, or
If you want to.
well, the things that you see there, you see a page that's written in a language that it is written in the Icenic language. I'm not sure if you understand it or not, but it's written there, and if you can read it, great, I'll tell you what it is. If not, too bad.
No, sadly, that is not one of my 6 languages.
Oof.
So you look at the books, you look at, the very well made calligraphy within it, very beautiful writing that is completely incomprehensible to you.
Alistair is kind of shocked because he's not really used to seeing a language that he doesn't understand because he's understood most everything he's ever seen. He's learned.
I suppose you cannot read what the All Mother has written for me. That is rather for the best, actually. With all due respect, Mr. Alistair, I do not think you need the All Mother's guidance, at least not for tonight.
Well, Alice just kind of had his answer to the question. Well, not the answer he wanted, but an answer. So I think he'll just leave it at that for now, bid her good night, and head back in.
It was
All
nice
right.
seeing you. And she returns to her book.
All right. So, yeah, Narissa manages to keep the boat stable. Uh, Alistair returns. All of you get a good night's sleep, except the one of you who doesn't need a good night's sleep. And it comes into the morning, a gray but morning, but without mist. A morning that is a lot more is a where you have a lot more visibility. And you've been sailing through a lot of this with either a heavy marine layer or through mist. You occasionally passed it over these last couple of days. Uh, the occasional sort of looks like freight ship. But as the rest of you get to your posts in the morning, you see a different sort of ship approaching you, and you can see it from further away than you could before. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and say Alcana and Alistair roll perception checks.
Ooh.
That
Yeah, you can see it coming towards you. You guys are both kind of, Alcana is the captain of the ship, and Alistair is the most perceptive among you. But it's difficult to catch many details. All you can tell is that it's a large carrack, and it looks like it's pretty patched up. There's a flag flying above it that's not like a flag that you've seen before. But this ship definitely, with how patchy it is and the color of the flag and the size of the flag, it doesn't look like any of the ships that you've passed so far.
Okay, I think Peyton is going to approach Alcana and say, Captain,
Yes.
from what I understand, the nature of our mission is somewhat secretive. Would be best if people did not know of our destination. Now, I think you'd agree that a crew consisting of a paladin, a fairy, a bard, a druid, and others would attract undue attention by passerbys. Now, I happen to know a spell that would create a fully lifelike illusion in a 20-foot area. Now, if you believe it necessary, we could cluster together, and I could cast such a spell, and we would all appear to be anything, whatever.
Thank you for volunteering this to me, but I don't think we'll need it at this particular time. I'll certainly keep it in mind, though. I don't think anyone's really cared to pay attention to us yet so far.
As you say this, you hear a crack coming from the direction of the other ship, and you see the two sparkling flares going up from somewhere on the deck of the ship. One of them is red, and one of them is white, and you just kind of hear them psh, psh, pop high in the air. And you would know, Alcana, that this is the symbol, red and white, for the sort of maritime symbol, meaning stop immediately.
She just kind of breathes deeply and just sort of tries to center herself and whatnot. She obviously has no idea who these people are and whatnot. But she figures it would probably be better for them to not attract too much suspicion or whatnot by just I really don't like this, but it would certainly be better for us to at least not look like we're trying to hide anything. But all of you keep on your guard in case this goes south. Sarah Dobin, have mercy.
Oh, I'm ready.
Peyton goes to pick up his staff.
Hmm.
Don cracks his knuckles.
So yeah, she would definitely try to bring the ship to a halt, though there's definitely a noted look of worry across her face.
Right. So you bring the Lady Escapade to a halt, kind of bring down the sail. And as the ship gets closer, now you can see the flag that's kind of waving, flapping in the breeze from its topmast. It appears to be sort of a stylized globe being encircled by two hands against this sort of light blue background. As it gets closer, you can see the figures on the deck, and they don't seem to be in a uniform. They all seem to be in kind of just whatever individual armor each of them have. And it's a ragtag assortment. There are humans, tiger riders, sea orphans. It looks like there's a cyclops on there. Just a whole lot of different sorts of people. And you see one of them, kind of a burly looking human with a large metal cone, kind of come up towards the front of the deck as the ship gets closer to you, maybe 100 feet away, and shout out through this metal cone, "Hold there! You! You sail under the auspices of the Khanate of Haranu!"
Would she have anything something that would let her be able to, like, respond or whatever, loud enough to be able to be heard?
I mean, you could just try to shout if you want to. I mean, we could say that you have, just a metal cone. That's such a simple thing.
That is correct. What of it?
You are sailing in the sovereign waters of Antilia. And if you wish to proceed any further, you must pay the proper taxes.
And,
Sorry, I'm giving you a moment to think about this.
Peyton just mutters to himself, "Ah, wherever I go, there's always the bureaucracy."
Sister Alcana, a ward perhaps?
That would certainly be useful in case this goes south.
Perhaps. Have you detected any signs that they are friendly to the Vanguard, or
Well, I think
What?
I would like to roll insight.
Sure. I'll kind of go ahead and roll insight. And I'll say Don should go ahead and do this too.
Oh, okay.
okay then?
All right.
Okay, then.
So you guys kind of hear this and you both pick up about the same thing. That the tone is not necessarily fully hostile, but definitely there's a little bit of a threat behind it. You get the sense that these aren't pirates exactly, but if you do not, pay up, that there will probably be violence. And as you look over the deck, you do see that indeed they have a number of ballistae on the deck that are just sort of have people idling behind them.
Do you think it'd be a little much to tell them that we literally work for Joe Nee?
I don't think they would particularly care.
Yeah, and Alcana and Don, you guys heard a little bit about Antilia in your time on Kanoka. You guys would both know that Antilia is sort of like a new group that's outside of the Khanates, that's sort of broken off from all of these individual little communities that have declared their own independence, that they're kind of a virtual nation. So,
Just rebel.
representing a particular Khanate probably doesn't carry a lot of weight with them.
What's the tax?
For you! You see him kind of almost stop and appraise your ship. 500 chimes!
That's a lot.
Don't worry, I have enough to cover it. I will certainly have to make note of this in our expense report for when we get back.
Let's split it up now. Is that my calculator? We all should pay 8 coins. Did I cut out there?
A little bit.
Well,
We should pay 83 coins.
Chimes,
Chimes.
Fine. And Elkanah would be willing to cover for anyone that doesn't really feel like they have the ability to pay and still have decent means to keep themselves afloat.
Oh, speaking of which, Rond, this might be a bit too late, but I forgot to roll for gold for Narissa when I made her. So, how much do you think she would have?
Hold on. Let me figure.
She's a princess. She's loaded.
Maybe her entire bank is located in another castle.
True.
Let's see. Let's say, let me look at the standard expenses. Let's say that she's got, say that she's got 231 chimes.
Okay.
So I guess everyone take off 83 chimes and Elkanah will make up the difference.
Take off how many?
83.
83?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd rather pay than fight. That wouldn't be fun.
Or you rich people?
How much does Datrix have?
374. But I believe several of us have several thousand chimes.
Worthend has one off from 1,000 chimes.
He spent a lot of it.
Elkanah's got over 3,000.
Loaded.
Can we bring Sigrun to pay our rent?
She's already long gone at this point, I imagine.
She didn't
I
have all the
know.
money. Crying. But yeah, I guess we all pay it.
I guess,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, so you guys gather up your all the chimes. He says, "Please hold there. Sea Whisker will be jumping onto your ship and will collect your tax." See, it gets closer, closer. About 10 feet now between this ship and yours. When you see this tiger rider, mangy-looking tiger rider, just leap from the deck of the ship and land with a thump, the whole of the Lady Escapade kind of, lists sharply for a second as he gets up. He's kind of these almost wild-looking yellow eyes, and looks and sort of at the money that you've gathered up. He kind of fakes forward and backwards a couple of times before he finally snatches it from you, Alcana. I'm guessing that you don't give him any trouble as he snatches it.
Nope, she has no reason to give him trouble.
Don squints at him.
Worthend
Yeah.
gives him an evil eye.
Yeah, he stuffs it into a filthy-looking backpack, and then leaps once more, kind of lands halfway down the the draft of the other ship, and just digs his claws into the wood and scrambles back up over the deck. The man with the megaphone. Thank you for your cooperation. You may pass unmolested.
Finally.
Thank you. And then she would just kind of continue on and try and get as far away from them as possible.
All right. So, you guys went through that without any incident. So I'd like all of the seafarers to once more make a seafaring check.
Good thing Logie isn't here to, set them all on fire or anything.
Yeah, really.
Don't-
Oh, now
jinx
I
it.
do bad?
Don't jinx it. Ooh, natural 20.
Very good. So you guys able to keep the ship going for the rest of the day and travel another 35 miles. And as the ship goes for the rest of the day, unless you guys are doing anything in particular, shall we assume that you guys follow the same pattern that you did the last 2 nights?
Before
Yeah.
that, just something that might take a while, but this time when Versant invites Narissa in, she accepts the invitation and goes in to the tiny hut. She feels like she needs that rest.
All right. So if Narissa is in the tiny hut, I want to ask, who is staying out? Who is keeping the boat afloat?
Oh, I got you. I'm not sure if you'll allow this. How about? I don't think this will work, but whatever. I got an unseen servant with me. How would an unseen servant work for here?
For Narissa?
Yes.
Let's see. Roll a charisma check and get a natural 20.
You're tempting me, aren't you?
Do it. No!
No, that's not gonna work.
Damn it. I can't charisma the DM. Rip.
Oh, charisma because it's, her spellcasting modifier.
I know.
Dawn would, but I don't think Dawn being in there affects how many people are allowed to fit.
Probably
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, Al, I think there's actually room enough in the dome for all of you, but the thing is, if none of you are just keeping watch on the lines during the night, then there's really no way of knowing where the ship will end up in the morning.
You know what? Dawn's gonna do it.
All right.
He shotties
Very
it.
nice.
As much as Alcana would like to volunteer, she realizes that being an exhausted captain might be more trouble than it's worth.
I mean, we could take shift.
I am
Dang
not
it.
feeling rather well. Could one of you please cover for me today? I will
got it.
thank you personally later in the... Thank you, little Dawn. May the dawn shine on you.
Wait, so is it
Done.
done the whole night, or are you guys taking shifts?
Dawn kind of feels bad about how crappy he did today, the whole seafaring. So, although he kind of looks at Alistair and he says, "Hey, you wanna take shifts?" You said fine. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Don will do the first half. I'll do for the first half, and you'll do the second.
Work for me.
All right, sounds good.
All right. So I'd like both of you guys to make Constitution saving throws, and these aren't as hard as they would be if it were one of you for the whole night, but you guys should still both make them.
I fall asleep.
Oh,
Okay.
dear.
Oh,
Uh,
this is not. Is that natural? Oh wait, no. It's
No, that's a 4, but it's still a bit too low. So, as it's the middle of the night, Alistair, and you come out after sort of sleeping half of it to relieve Dawn, you see that what you've got is more like a frozen, like fairy icicle hanging off of one of the ropes. This tiny thing, it was a horrible idea in the first place to have this tiny fairy shepherding this entire ship.
Alistair just kind of takes Don up and wraps him up in somewhere in his cloak and lets him fall asleep there and warm up.
Why didn't I bring
Adorable.
a jacket?
Adorable.
So yeah,
Don falls asleep.
Dawn, yeah, you fall asleep
Aw.
inside of the dome, but you are exhausted, and if you try to work the next day, it'll be a good deal harder, you know.
Aw.
But you can choose to take the next day off if you want to try to rest.
You know what? I think Don will take you up on that. God.
All right. So Alistair, though, you've spent a lot of nights on watch, you know, throughout your life. You're able to steel yourself against the cold, keep it going until it comes into next morning. Here, a lot grayer, but some of the chill is starting to die down as you are traveling further south. I'd like everyone who's proficient with seafaring, except for Dawn, to make seafaring checks.
Don's still snuggled up in Alistair's cloak. Aw.
Adorable.
Oh man, everyone did that so quickly.
We're on top of it today.
All right, so yeah, that is just about barely what you needed to get to not meet with disaster for not having a full crew. So you managed to keep the boat going. This time, 25 miles, not as far as you were able to the other day. But you meet no incident, pass a couple of small ships on the way, but you're sailing your way. And as you get further south, as the day turns to night, you notice that the winds in your sails are starting to falter a little bit, that you have to kind of tack, sort of southwest and southeast a few times to keep your sails full. And you eventually relent as it gets into evening, but it seems like the jet streams, the winds that you were relying on are starting to die down a little bit. So do you guys follow the same procedure in the evening?
The dome, and I guess Narissa would know. It was rather silly of me to not have a servant with me, with Narissa during her shift, so I'm gonna have it to be now, because why not?
Oh, very nice. Okay.
No, I can do this later.
Well, what has Peyton been doing? Because he's just kind of been sitting back while, Narissa kind of rests during the day and takes care of the ship at night, and while everyone else is working the ship.
Yeah, Peyton, what have you been doing?
I have been advancing the knowledge of humankind. Blah blah blah. No. I think one particular evening, Payson is sitting, reading his book, the Wonderful World of the Wushankos, and he's just sort of turning the pages slowly, sort of looking at them longer than is probably natural for him, and he's in a section of the book talking about sea monsters and the creatures of the sea, the wonderful creatures of the sea, from octopi to great man sharks and
Are you
big
trying
fish
to-
and whales and other things like that. So he looks at that for a while before standing up, walking to the edge of the boat, and just sort of gazing out over the ocean, and stands there for a while, and sort of lowers his staff into the water, sort of makes it glow slightly, and swirls it around, just looking.
And as you make it glow slightly and swirl it around, you start to see these tiny fish in the water sort of swimming up towards the back of the boat. By now, the sails have already been battened down. Some of them look like they're almost translucent, and as they approach the glow, they seem to start glowing themselves with this slight bioluminescence. And you can see underneath the shifting sort of surface of the water these almost the organs and spines within them, looking almost more like a flowering pattern through them than they do, like anything like entrails. And it's an odd beauty to it.
Yeah, he for a moment he reaches for his notebook, but but right before sort of pulling it up, he moves his hands away again and just looks at it.
So when Peyton was looking through his book, reading about sea monsters, was he looking for anything in particular, or trying to read up on the Isle of Juniper, or anything like that?
No, he was just looking.
All right. Very nice. So, as everyone retreats under the dome, Narissa, go ahead and roll just a straight d20. All right. Go ahead and make your Constitution save.
Okay, then.
Oh, no.
Not okay, then.
Okay. All right. So that's a natural one. So, under new rules, you get a point of foresight, but I'd also like you to go ahead and roll on that botch table.
Wait, is this like the fucking roll a d100 thing, and something random happens? This is so cool. I love this.
A little bit. All right. So it's just a simple fail. You kind of hold on to the lines during the night. Luckily, as the people, everyone emerges in the daytime, the ship hasn't veered too far off course, maybe just very slightly. But you are in a bad way. You have not been doing well at sealing yourself. You are frozen to the bone. You can barely even speak. You are in such a bad way, and feel like you need some time to recover from this.
I guess she would chitter the All Mother's name over and over while she is freezing.
Oh.
Like, All Mother. Kind of like that.
Maybe we should get her inside.
Oh dear, Sarah Doman. I'm thinking that she'd probably try to get her inside post haste, indeed. Looking very, very concerned.
Yeah. Does Werson make another hut for her to rest inside of?
Of course.
No.
Yeah,
Rosen
get her
has
inside
huts
the
for
hut.
days.
Get her inside the hut. Get her bundled up. Do what you can for her, and hope that she'll be good after a good 8 hours of rest.
This might be odd, but not. I mean, theoretically speaking, she can use lesser restoration, whatever, on herself. I can do that. Would that help me, Rond?
What does lesser restoration cure?
I checked it. It doesn't cure exhaustion. Sorry.
Ah,
I thought
damn.
about that too.
Okay. What about no? Never mind. Also remove curse one, so I guess.
Yeah, this isn't really a curse.
I mean,
She's just tired as fuck.
kinda.
Yeah, she's tired, she's frozen, she's exhausted. But she rests in there for the day. And as you guys sort of take to open the sails again, there's very little breeze, and you can see that the marine layer has come back with a vengeance. You have very, very low visibility in this part now. You can't see any other ships. It seems like it's just the surprisingly still ocean around you. Alcana, I'd like you to go ahead and make a survival check for the ship.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
So you have spent a bit of time at sea. You've spent time doing a little bit of navigation as a girl on Ashdale. And though you're going blind, you feel like you've probably got a good feel for the direction that you guys are going. You hope that it's good. So I'd like everyone who's proficient in seafaring, roll a seafaring check with disadvantage.
God damn it.
Not fun.
I don't think it does automatically disadvantage.
I think it's doing
Twice it.
disadvantage anyways. But just not showing both.
Whoops,
No.
that was the wrong thing.
Oh, really?
Who wants +7 for Bardic Inspiration?
I rolled a 7. So.
Take it. Just take the 7 Bardic
Guess who-
Inspiration, please.
Oh, maybe Alistair needs it.
I have a natural 1.
Alistair needs it! Please give it to Alistair! No!
Oh, that was a natural 1. Okay. Alistair, you get a point of foresight, but also you get to roll on the botch table.
This is gonna be bad.
Gonna lose an arm.
Simple fail. Yeah, see, nothing to worry about. There's nothing scary about rolling on a botch table.
Why the f you lie?
All right, so that was 6 for worsened, 5 for Alistair, 7 for Dawn.
I'm gonna add. I added the Bardic Inspiration to Alistair before his roll, by the way.
Oh, okay. So that's 12 for Alistair then.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And it was 8 for me.
All right. So does that mean that only Alistair got above a 10 then?
Yeah.
Or wait, what did Alcana get?
Well, she actually did pretty damn well.
Oh, really? And that's rolling with disadvantage?
Well, I said
23.
disadvantage when I rolled it, so...
Yeah, 12.
Okay.
Wait, no, not 12. 20. Yeah, holy shit.
Oh.
I think. Yeah, because it doesn't do disadvantage automatically, does it?
Oh, wait, did you roll a second time for seafaring?
I set it to disadvantage on the character sheet.
Huh.
It
Maybe,
doesn't do
maybe
that.
it doesn't do that because it's not like a standard roll. Roll a second time if you would for me, Alcana. Sorry.
Still good.
Well, still pretty
Nice.
decent though. All right.
Yeah, it's still not bad.
All right. So, yeah, the ship is actually still even with this fog. You're able to make a little bit of progress, less than you'd hope to, but still manage to push forward in what you hope is the right direction. But as it gets into this heavy fog, once more I'd like Alcana and Alistair to roll perception checks.
Just regular?
Yeah, just regular. Yeah, so Alcana, as you are sailing through this mist, you keep feeling like you see something off to starboard, far off to starboard, something through somewhere in the top of the fog, something kind of poking through, though you're not sure exactly what it is, why it is. And then you sort of notice as it's getting late into what would be the afternoon, though the quality of the light has not changed at one point during the day, these gray sails looking torn on what must be a very large, very tall ship. And it seems like, as you see it, you see them more clearly. You realize that the ship must have been sailing close to you for a large chunk of the day, almost maybe even following you.
I don't like the look of that at all.
Dun dun dun.
Did you say that in character?
Yeah, I did say that in character. Peyton? Now's
Yes?
the time. I have a bad feeling
Right.
about this.
Peyton is going to use his. Wait, hang on. I just have to read this first. Okay, Peyton, not wanting to speak aloud, is going to use message to ask Arcana what he is to make them look like.
Generic and uninteresting.
Generic and uninteresting. Fisherman. And so Peyton motions for everyone to be to huddle together, and he casts Major Image.
All right, so 20-foot cube. That means that you can pretty much cover, half of the ship. And, you could do that, say, around the mast and have everyone gather around you. But I want you to describe how you change the image of this part of the ship.
So the good thing about Major Image is that it's essentially completely indistinguishable from reality unless you touch it. So he's going to add some nets, some barrels, some other like generic fishy equipment. No, not fishy equipment, fishing equipment. There's a difference. And he's going to make everyone look like sort of generic sailors. Some of them are probably going to. Oh! I know. Don is going to be turned into a parrot.
Of course.
Okay.
I want a cracker!
Yeah, Don is a parrot.
Yes!
Well, I guess I can ask you out of character what you want your fisherman personas look like.
Parrot.
We can say that Peyton uses message to ask the people if that's a problem with metagaming, but what do you want to look like?
No, he could even hide them entirely if he wanted to with this.
Oh yeah,
Probably
that's true. If people want to be hidden.
Turn with the barrels.
You mind if... No, never mind. We're not in rage for it, so never mind.
I don't know. I think Okana would probably just want to look like, pretty generic, average-looking fisherwoman. Some sturdy but unremarkable clothes, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, okay.
I'm too tired to give a more detailed description.
Probably same for everyone. Although I imagine Alistair's fisherman appearance looks a bit more sort of more edgy and dangerous than the others. He probably has like a scar running down his eye. Just
The left eye.
left eye, okay. One of you probably has like a gold tooth.
Can I have an eye patch?
Yeah, sure, you can have an eye patch.
Ooh.
And yeah, just generic for everyone unless they want something.
I want a
Alright.
straw. I want a straw hat.
Okay, a straw hat.
All right.
Okay,
So
Luffy.
you're an unassuming group of fishermen on an unadorned fishing vessel. Well, let's see how. Yeah, you can see the ship sail closer and briefly emerge from the fog. You can see the whole thing almost seems to have a gray pallor over it. And then you briefly catch sight of a flag kind of almost waving at half mast on this ship, a flag that looks an awful lot. I mean, if you had to put a name to it, I'm grabbing the flag like this.
Ooh.
Spooky.
Oh dear.
I like it.
Yeah, I'd like everyone but Narissa and Peyton to go ahead and make just, let's see, intelligence checks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I get
Wow,
another
wow.
point of foresight at least.
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
your
I
your
don't
bad
know
rolls
how-
are finally giving you something.
Okay, Alistair, go ahead and roll on that botch table. I don't know how this will happen
You
from
get
an
a headache.
intelligence check.
Oh,
Six.
crap.
Alright.
Oh wow, that was probably the worst one to get at this
Okay,
moment.
so can I just, worsen cast invisibility on Alistair?
How much foresight is it to re-roll a d20?
2 points of foresight.
You know, because that's so bad, I think I'll do that.
But do you want to re-roll the botch or re-roll the 1?
Re-roll the. If I re-roll the 1, do I lose the point of foresight I got?
Yeah. But you can do that to re-roll the botch.
I'd rather not have to roll the botch at all.
Well, then you can do it to re-roll the 1 then.
Yes, I'm going to do that.
Do it.
What was it? Intelligence?
Yeah.
Oh,
you're
yeah,
fine.
that's much better.
Oh yeah.
So,
Phew.
yeah. Oh. So, Alistair, you look at this and know instantly what this is. This is the flag of Hanto.
Hunt.
Can he, kind of whisper this to the rest of the group?
Yeah.
He kind
Does
of,
Notrix recognize it at all?
Oh, shoot. Oh, yeah. Notrix would 100% recognize it. Notrix wouldn't have had to roll on it. I'm sorry.
God damn it.
Where's Hanto? Oh, look.
It's in the skull.
But, yeah. Yeah, you see it flapping in the breeze as the ship sails closer and closer to you, and then just sails out of range.
Well, as it goes by, can Nostrix have a closer look at it? Because, he's been to Hento, does it? Is there anything about it that stands out to him, having been there and heard things about the island?
Yeah, go ahead and roll an investigation check, Notrix. Looks like a boat. Looks like a big boat. And it looks like it's probably got a flag on it.
Damn it.
No.
Yeah,
Can't see
there's a
anything,
lot of
fog.
fog around. It's obscuring most of the individual features on it.
How
Okay.
thick did you say this fog was?
It's pretty thick. You can probably, for most of the day, you've probably only been able to see about 100 feet away from the boat clearly in each direction.
Oh, good, because this spell only lasts 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, by then it's already passed out of range of you guys. You guys all sort of breathe a sigh of relief as the fog slowly begins to dissipate, but it's getting towards evening now. So, are you guys doing once again the same procedure?
Don wants a cracker.
Prestidigitation's Donna Cracker.
Fairy, I am no longer casting a spell on you.
Oh, and then I look at my hands and I see that they're not wings, and I just go, oh. I take the cracker anyways.
Right. I said earlier that Peyton was going to help by looking at the stars and stuff, and I don't think he's actually done that since the start. So I guess he can do that again.
Thank you so much, Peyton. That could have been much, much worse.
That it could. And well, we couldn't risk not reaching our destination now, could we?
No, we really can't, and well, let's just say it was especially good we averted disaster here, given, well, the identity of who that ship happened to be. Or at least who they signed under.
Right. So, as it gets towards evening and you guys all, take your rest, who is keeping watch on the deck?
Is the question I have?
Who's taking care of the boat?
Has Narissa recovered or?
Yeah. It's she's rested the whole day.
Well, she figures unless anybody wants to stop her from freezing to death, she would go.
You know what? Don feels bad because last time, he wants redemption, So he says, and he feels bad because, last night she looked real rough. And he wants to say, actually, I could do it tonight if you want. That should be fine. Last time it was just a little chillier, but tonight it won't be that bad.
Last time, you nearly became a little, nothing more than an ice cube, little Dawn.
So did you. You almost became a snowman.
I guess I almost was. And to think there would have been no crown for that snowman. A pity, really.
Hey.
If you wish... I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, I'll, rock, paper, scissors, you fool.
I am not sure if I should rock, paper, play this somewhat barbaric game, but...
Trust me, it's a fairy tradition.
If you insist, I shall play it with you.
Alright, you ready? 2 hours. And do you need me to explain the rules to you, or do you know? I don't know if this is a common thing on Gielinor.
I mean,
this is Don explaining. Asking.
No, I know what that game is.
Oh, okay, good. I guess it's a universal thing.
Let us just get this over with.
Okay. Rock, paper, scissors, scissors, and. Should we roll something? What the? I didn't think this through.
Roll a d3.
One is rock.
Rock. 2 paper, 3 scissors.
1 rock, 2 paper, scissors.
So 2 beats 1, 3 beats 2, 1 beats 3.
Yeah.
I just typed that in. Paper, scissors, shoot.
All right, so it looks like Narissa wins.
Dang. Okay, but that's 2 out of 3.
Dawn, little Dawn, you do not need to persuade me to get some rest.
But
please.
But Fine.
Although,
Yeah.
I suppose you might be able to keep me company through the night. Can you not?
Ooh. Yeah, you know what? Why don't we both go outside?
I will make sure that if you happen to freeze, you can rest in my personal uh, cloak. It is rather warm in there, or so I've heard.
I imagine like her cloak is all silky and interesting looking, so I'll take you up on that. Although I'm not gonna have to sleep. I'll be fine.
We will see about that, little Dawn.
Wait, so you've never slept at all? Not once in your life? You've just never gone to bed?
There was a time where I felt the need to rest my eyes and my body for several hours. However, that proved rather wasteful of my own time schedule. And the Allmother has blessed me with the gift of being able to stay productive throughout the entire day. Is that not grand?
Actually, it does sound useful, but do you ever miss it?
Why would I? I get to read my books all night long instead of wasting 8 hours dreaming about reading said books.
Yeah, but sleeping, feels good. It's like, don't you miss that feeling of feeling all well and rested? Nothing.
It was a good attempt, little Dawn. I will say that much.
Fine. I have this spell called sleep. If you wanted to, I could
Really?
cast it on you.
I would assume I would be impervious to all matters of sleeping, so that would be quite wasteful of your rather interesting assets.
Even spells? What if, like, breathe in something that'll knock you out? Like a toxic gas or something,
I am fairly sure that my body shall endure it, thanks to the blessing of the All-Mother that I have received.
Huh. If you say so. Wish Guthix would help us out in that department, but... I think he likes to
Her-
sleep.
If your Gothic seems like quite the sleeper, isn't he?
Yeah, I'd say so. Anyways,
Do you,
Hmm?
do you know what happens when Gothic sleeps?
What?
The world continues to shift, everything continues falling into place, and of course, we keep on with our daily lives.
Does that not happen when he's awake?
Have you heard of a time he was awake?
No.
Then I shall rest my case then.
Whoa. He's like blew his little mind. But yeah.
All right. So do both of you guys stay up the whole night, or do you guys split the shift?
I guess, probably tell Dawn to split the shift. Would be
All
easier
right.
for him, really.
All right.
Yeah,
I'd like
same.
both of you guys to
I
go
guess-
ahead and.
Yeah,
I'm
both
back.
split.
Hi.
I'll come back. Yeah,
All
both.
right. So I'd like both of you guys to go ahead and make Constitution saving throws.
Watch this bit, natural 20. Almost
Looked
natural
kind of
20.
meh. Hey, we're not. None of us are natural oneing right now, so.
Yeah.
We helped each other.
So Dawn, it's a very cold night. There's still the fog on the water. You feel it, soak into your clothing, but you manage to tough it out without getting exhausted. And yeah, it's harder for you because you do generally need sleep, and you feel like you might need to rest a little bit for some of the next day to get yourself back together, but you're not fully exhausted. So the next day comes. I'd like everyone to go ahead, all the seafarers, go ahead and roll seafaring checks. Dawn, you roll yours with disadvantage.
Damn it!
Well, it was a natural one, so
It was a natural one?
yeah.
Yay, I get to roll the thing!
All
It's
right.
my turn.
Yeah, Dawn, you get a point of foresight, and you get to roll on the botch table. Oh boy.
Let's spin for the win.
Oh
Wait,
That's a fun one.
So,
oh no!
Dawn, you are, working the ropes alongside everyone else. As a matter of fact, who do you think that you are working next to for most of the time when you're, working the ship during the day?
I would say I'm working next to Alistair.
God damn it.
All right. So, as the fog is now dissipating and the winds are starting to pick up again, you both are sort of pulling on the lines, getting the sail full, picking up as much of the wind. And as you, Dawn, kind of grip a little too tightly on the rope and feel your whole body being pulled up and down for just a second, and you start
Whoa.
to feel nauseous. And Dawn, tell me, if you have biological mishap, does it come from the front or does it come from the back?
The front, holy
The
shit!
front. And you see as Dawn, in the midst of all of this, Alistair just kind of turns towards you with a green face as you saw that he has been grabbing too tightly onto the rope. And it looks like he's about to say something very important to you, Alistair, as he opens his mouth, and just all over the front of you, I guess it's really a small amount because it's a tiny fairy, but you just get projectile magical fairy vomit all down your chest, Alistair.
So does this count as poison spray?
What?
Does this count as poison spray?
This is poison spray. Let me roll
Not
1d12.
quite.
No, okay.
Is
Alistair,
everything all right back there?
Uh,
I'll take that as a no.
it's fine. I'll take care of it.
oh god. Hold on, I gotta take a break. I'm sorry.
Little Dawn, you don't seem so well.
It's just the rope and it tossed me around. I need to lay down.
Alistair, meanwhile, looks around for, I guess, worsen to, get rid of the stain. Stains, plural.
Sup, Al?
Payson is going to to approach Alistair with a vial, and he's going to just scrape off a small sample from Alistair's shirt and push it in the vial.
Oh god, help!
Alistair just kind of looks at him with a blank expression, waits for him to be finished, makes sure not to move, doesn't want to, jostle around and he'll miss his bottle or whatever. Then after that, he'll go find Worsen to get this the hell off of him.
Sup, Al? You don't seem so hygienic. Is that a good word? Probably not. What happened?
Don threw up on me.
Can fairies even barf?
Yes!
Good to know. Apparently, they have a, that thing that makes you sick. That is oddly specific to know.
A stomach?
Um,
Yeah, we do have that. Don says from like the background.
Shut up!
Please
So,
keep this to a limit. I don't know how the sea's going to act.
Right. Let's see. I'm gonna need you to take off that, where, he threw up on you.
Probably just on his cloak.
The cloak. No, the cloak is mostly just the back and the sides, unless you throw up on the side or the back. But
Or like the little bit on your torso, I guess.
no, that would just be the. That would be the leather armor.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna need it not to be on your body, so it'll work.
So you'll clean it.
Yeah.
Fine. He takes the cloak off, undoes the cloak, undoes everything above the leather armor, and takes it off.
And how sexy does he look while he does this?
I mean,
Roll charisma.
How's his ab
Go
game
roll a
going?
Performance check, Alistair.
I mean, it could be charismatic as well, but Don, that's not your turn yet.
That's an investigation, just so I could take a look.
I'd love to see a performance check for Alistair. I
You know-
don't think anything would give
Do
me
it.
greater joy.
just for ha-has, because this is just.
Yeah, this is haha.
How many points of foresight is it to give yourself advantage on the roll?
No, don't.
Well, it's one if you can prove that this is somehow related to his, traits, flaws, bonds, or ideal.
I don't. No, probably not.
Have bardic inspiration, you sexy man.
Are we really doing this?
Yeah!
Yes.
I'll take. You said performance, right?
That's right.
Natural 20. Oh.
So it's a
That's six.
19. It's reasonably sexy. It's not like drop dead, drop everything that you're doing, but everyone you can't help but notice. Yeah, he looks good when he does this.
Narissa kind of hides her face into her book, like trying to avoid this rather shameful display.
I mean, Alcana is really trying to focus, but yeah, that's there.
Alistair just kind of looks around. What?
Do you work out?
Duh. I mean, in the Vanguard, we have to keep ourselves physically fit.
Well, you look pretty fit to me, Al.
Wink, wink.
Thanks. He kind of blushes a little bit, but tries to hide it.
Wurson just giggles and does whatever he does with prestidigitation to clean the clothes off. And then returns it to him and says, and then I guess after he returns them, he whispers to Dawn or somebody else. Sure, let's say Dawn, and says, you didn't have to strip for that. I just did it for him to embarrass himself a bit.
Do I hear that?
No, he doesn't.
Oh, shoot! You have a 20 passive perception. Yes, you do.
What?
Can I stealth it anyways?
Sure. Go ahead. Roll stealth. Beat a 20.
Damn.
Oh,
Like, you hear Don laughing at it too. Nice, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They, Worson says that to Don. They're both giggling. Next thing you know, they both look up, and Alistair's just standing there with his arms folded, just right there. Hey guys, what you laughing about?
Uh,
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 I
Orson
guess.
did it!
What? No, it was Dawn. I swear. I
I fly
mean,
away to Alcana. Later!
Please don't get me wrapped up in this. We have enough to focus on right now as is. What did you do?
Nothing!
nothing.
What did you do? Alcana looks back, just kind of observing this scene.
Nothing, we swear.
I swear!
Don't worry about it. It's fine. Let's just get back to
Well, whatever
work.
you do, get back to work.
That's what I just said. Okay.
Aye, Captain.
Aye, ma'am, sir, Kana, lady.
Let's go!
All right.
Go off to the other side of the boat.
You know,
Same,
Marcy,
same.
if you wanted to see what I look like without a shirt, you could just ask. What's the big deal?
Al, I can't do that.
Okay.
I have a relationship to keep up.
He just kind of gives him this odd, what does that have to do with anything look.
Wink
And
wonk.
Wilson just winks and walks away. Not even gonna pay that response. That's it.
Alcana sighs and then just continues doing work, trying to ignore what just happened.
Thad's a little embarrassed, so he's just gonna like fly all the way up into the mast and pretend he's doing useful shit up there.
So after this whole debacle of Dawn's vomit and Alistair's sexiness, you guys wind down the rest of the day. Worsend makes his tiny hut. I'd like Alistair, Dawn, and Narissa to go ahead and make intelligence checks. Yeah, Dawn and Narissa, you both kind of realize you've both done a couple nights worth of tending the ship and realize that you could probably make it a lot easier on all of you if you split this up into maybe 3 shifts. That it'll be a lot less of a strain on any of you.
Huh. You know what I realized, little Dawn?
What?
We, instead of having just me or 2 of you together, we could have had 3 people to attend shifts.
Oh, and like ships? Yeah. Why didn't we do that before?
She kind of scoffs and says, I am not fit to handle such matters to come up with this plan earlier. I assumed my duty would be that, but if this would be easier, I shall take this without any sense of dread and be pleased with myself.
Yeah, don't worry. None of us really thought of that anyways. Yeah. I could do the first shift if you want.
That is rather kind of you, little Dawn.
Who wants to go second?
I'm thinking that Narissa would go last.
Looks at Alistair. Well, looks like you're in the middle.
No.
What do you mean, no?
You heard me. No.
Why?
Choose someone else. I don't care who.
Listen. Don't be mad. Why you gotta be mad at me?
He just starts ignoring him entirely.
Come on!
Little fairy, do you always say, hey, listen?
Am I saying that a lot?
She looks confused at you and nods.
Oh, I didn't notice. But anyways. Hey, Alistair, listen.
He's still ignoring him.
I'm sorry, okay?
Now, little Dawn, perhaps we can get somebody else to to be the third person.
You know what?
Perhaps.
Yeah, you're right. Perhaps Alice was being a little, moody today.
I will end you.
He hides behind Narissa.
Now, if you wish to end him, at least do it under his own laws, not in the sea. The sea has open rules, you see.
Gee, thanks for the fence. Hey, Warson!
What?
Wanna take up a shift for the night?
He kinda stares at everyone and just looks back into his hut and then back outside and says, "But it's warm in here."
Come on, please! Alistair needs a break from being
Ah.
puked on.
Wait, does Werson need to stay inside of his hut for it to
No.
be a hut?
No. It's not even concentration.
Nice.
Oh, hey, it's not.
Damn.
The
Crazy
spell
spell.
ends if you leave its area.
Yeah, I guess, Person would be the third person if Alistair is moody.
Alice's booty.
But I'm gonna say I'm looking at your spell. The spell ends if you leave the area of your hut.
Oh. In that case,
I'll take the
Werson-
third shift so we can just stop all of this arguing for Sarah Doman's sake.
Actually, I want Werson to say, okay. He steps out of the hut, realizes that, oh no, it's gone. And then just sighs and pops open a new one.
Oh, convenient for you, ain't it?
Yeah, everyone who was half asleep suddenly feels, from this nice warmth, suddenly feels the chill, the mist of the sea for a second.
Oh, God.
Peyton just wakes up like, what the? Bard, did you not read the spell description before casting it?
What spell description? He kinda shrugs, and Narissa just face palms.
Any reputable spell book has a detailed description about the spell and is.
We
Just don't
are
do
not
it
all
again.
wizards with carefully thought out spells.
Yeah,
Well,
all I got
everyone in the East seems to think we're wizards.
What
Do
did
I
you
look
say?
like a person who writes down spells to you? Kinda gives a
No,
big or
of
small
course
soft
not. You
spot.
look like a very special kind of person.
I'll
If
take
no one else is going to volunteer for it, I suppose I'll take third shift. It's certainly not the first time I would have spent part of the night doing such a thing.
Thank you, Alcana.
Thank you, Sister Alcana.
Ah,
And I guess she
it's the least of my duty. I was trying to avoid that so that I could captain the ship well, but I suppose if it's only for part of the night, then... Well, that would be acceptable.
If you think it's going to be too much of a strain on your captaining duties, I can take the shift.
Or how about we all take the shifts together?
That ruins
Marissa
the
kinda-
entire point of a shift, Worsened. I hope you realize that.
Will you play rock, paper,
Kinda.
scissors for it?
Oh my god, I'll do it.
Oh, I want to play rock, paper, scissors. Can I do that?
Just get to your shifts, for the love of Saratoban!
So you watch as Alistair, completely exasperated, pushes past the rest of you to take a shift, overseeing the boat for the night. I'm going to say, Dawn, Alistair, and Narissa, go ahead and just roll survival checks this time.
I love that whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah. So you the thing is you still average high enough, and none of you got a botch, natural one. So the average is still high enough. And Narissa's not doing too great over this, but over the next few nights you kind of fall into this pattern. And then I'd like all the proficient seafarers to go ahead and make seafaring checks.
On the last night, can we do a small scene?
Of course, of course. So, you guys, you guys, it's not as cold in this far south, though it is a bit rainy, a bit drizzly as you guys continue sailing. And the next day, in fact, in the morning, you pass a couple of very large ships, galleons, and they look to have some sort of a plating on the side. And a couple of you recognize these as arbiter ships. A pair of them sailing, but not seeming to sail past you. They're just, visible from where you are. And Alistair, you look, towards the deck of one of these ships, and you notice one of the arbiters in this sort of steel plate armor holding a spyglass and just looking through it. And this ship is, maybe 500 feet away, looks through it and seems to focus for a second on your ship as it continues sailing past. But neither of them slow down at all. They are both at full speed. They've got their sails up. They have oars on the side of them, working at a furious pace. And these two ships continue sailing past the lot of you.
So, he looked at us, briefly, but that was it?
Yeah, it seemed like both of these ships were just sailing full force north, kind of the way that you came. But yeah, you definitely noticed someone kind of fixating as it passed on the Lady Escapade.
And kind of makes note of that and comes up to Alcanus and she's the captain. Did you happen to recognize those ships?
They appear to be arbiter ships, if I reckon.
The Arbiter. Those are the ones who keep the peace for the council, right?
Yes, they were the ones that keep the peace on Kanoka. What about them? Did you see something?
Yeah, one of them on one of the ships seemed to be using a spyglass, looking around for some. Caught a glimpse of us for a second, but didn't really seem to do anything.
Well, I suppose it should be good that they don't have our attention on us at this immediate moment, but, well... I'm still a bit uneasy about it.
If they keep the peace on Kanoka, why are they all the way out here?
I suppose that is an interesting question, isn't it? We'll certainly have to keep note of it and keep our guard up. I'm just thankful that nothing's come to blows so far.
Did, the Arbiter ships, did they, have a bunch of troops on them, or were they, fairly empty?
I mean, they were large ships. From what you could see, there were definitely soldiers on the deck. You couldn't say how many were below deck. But from what you could tell, they at least looked fully manned.
Interesting.
Well, it could have gone much worse. I suppose that's enough for me, for now.
Right. Well, if my memory of the map that I've been looking at for the Bushankos is correct, we should be getting close to our destination soon. Except it's not actually our destination. How are we going to get around that fact?
I've been thinking about that this whole time, and, well, let's just say that a couple of things have occurred to me over the course of the several days we've been sailing. Well, I suppose that the most simple thing we could say is it's a case of simple navigational error that led us to getting off course. certainly wouldn't look the greatest, but it's also quite believable. I suppose another thing is that there is an accident of some kind, but unless we can conjure up a storm or something of that nature, I don't think we would really be able to come up with something significantly believable.
How thick is the fog? Is it still like really thick?
Most of the fog is dissipated by now. In fact, right now you've just got kind of a very light drizzle.
Damn, I was planning to use that for an excuse. So much for that.
Certainly being sighted by the Arbiters doesn't help our case, though hopefully it won't be significant enough for them to remember it.
Well, them spotting us here just means that they saw that we were on our way south. It doesn't mean that they know where we're going or where we're
That's
going.
very true, and it didn't seem like they cared enough to look in more detail.
Still, we'll need to come up with something for some reason how we ended up there before we get there.
Yes. I suppose that maybe we should have a little bit of a discussion on this. Since this is something of the utmost importance, and well, any option we really go with is going to be difficult to work.
Perhaps we could say we were due to go through the pass between Falling Blossom and the Isle of Juniper, but were driven off course by a storm.
Of course, that would require well, let's just say that weather doesn't generally tend to be localized to one particular spot for our convenience. And I don't think any of us can whip up a storm on command.
No.
Not a large one, anyway.
I beg your pardon?
Nah, it was nothing.
Well, I do know one of us can foresee a storm.
Yes, that is true. You've been checking the weather for us this whole time, Notrix.
Yes,
We may not be
have.
able to create one, but we can try and find one.
Perhaps, but I really think that navigational error is a good excuse to use if we need one.
Indeed. And if we just happen to run into some nasty conditions on the way, then that's all the better.
We could sabotage our rudder and claim it was an accident.
We should probably have the ship intact for the return trip.
Yeah, that would
Well,
probably be wise.
I assume we would be capable of creating some sort of breakage that would be easily mendable, but that looks, well...
Look, we don't want to be complicated with this. The more we have to think about it and the more we have to prepare, the more that people will be able to see through it. Simpler is better here.
I say we just simply claim that we did not realize what island we were landing on. We are Westerners after
Well.
most of us are we're all Westerners after all, so it would be pretty simple to plead ignorance on the islands of the east.
We have several spellcasters available. I still think we could probably fake a storm. You know, a small one.
I suppose if necessary, I could make the ship appear damaged if we were to be inspected at sea.
I still don't like the sound of that.
Well, I'm afraid that while I can summon up lightning bolts, I cannot summon up an entire storm.
But it is the same with me.
I'm kind of. I kind of hoped I would be able to summon a big ship to get us back, but well, Not part of my abilities yet. He kind of whistles innocently.
Yet.
Arcana just kind of gives Weirson an interesting look after he says that and kind of glances between him and Peyton before just sighing. For now, navigational error it is. We don't really have anything better at the moment that won't be able to be ripped apart with a bit of scrutiny. And if disaster may come, well, I say we lean into it.
We'll be prepared.
Although it is a very strange thing to say that our plan is to deliberately court disaster if it should arise.
So, as you guys formulate your plan, continue sailing through the Bowl region. It seems that the winds are not as strong here as they were before. The trade-off for that it's not as freezingly cold as it was in the north. You never run into patches of snow like you did not long after you left Horanu. You do run into quite a lot of rain. And as you are trying to indeed court disaster, since Natrix is sort of aiding and Alcana is the captain, Alcana, I want you to go ahead and roll a survival check with advantage. Yes, you try to sort of watch out for storms, watch out for patterns in which you can get lost feasibly. You find some excuse for your ship not going off course, but you're not able to find anything. If anything, the weather kind of starts to get a little nicer, though still a sharp chill within it, as about 5 days later, you begin your approach towards the Isle of Juniper. And I want to ask, what time of day is it when the Lady Escapade approaches the Isle of Juniper?
Can we have one last thing before the actual approach?
Sure, yeah.
So, on the last night before, we actually approach it and fulfill a due resolve, I'm guessing Worsend would gather everyone up into the tiny hut, prepare his loot a bit, and ask, so, here we are again, aren't we? Last time we were here, we pretty much sailed to Haranu and had quite a few months of, adventuring and all that. And, well, just a bit earlier, we shared a few interesting tales about ourselves. And I would think maybe it was a good omen, Probably if we tell more stories about ourselves, then we'll have great success over this next trip. And besides, he kind of smirks. It gives me more stories to write about, after all. I still haven't done most of your stories fully yet.
I
Wait, Red.
don't exactly see a problem in this. In fact, it might help us, gather our resolve for what perils certainly await us.
I knew you'd say that, Kana. Now, who wants to begin first this time? I can go first again, if it is fine with you all.
Go for
I
it.
see no objections, on my part at least.
Alistair doesn't say anything, but you can see that he's obviously looking at Narissa.
Narissa just reads into her book and attempts to concentrate into it, but you can kind of tell that she is keeping an ear out, just in case. So, it's me again, huh? Alright then. And like last time, I won't do it in song to not torture you all. I know Al here certainly doesn't like my songs every time.
Why not?
So
The last couple ones that I heard were pretty good.
Yeah, well, my solo performances were a bit lacking lately. But still, I feel confident in myself, and I have a lot of people to thank for that. I have. Well, you've probably heard that my sister Elsa is sort of like a beacon of hope to me. That she's a bit rough and forceful, but she is the family that keeps out on a lookout for me, and I appreciate her efforts quite a bit, even if she, well, she's not the most negotiable at times. And after this is over, I might need a more than a few days to see my he kind of stutters, falls down for a moment, and looks up at them and says, "My dad, he's not that feeling. He's not getting any better." And here I thought I could probably get some help or magic from you, but I didn't even get the chance to see him. I was so focused and busy, I lost count of time entirely. And that's not to say of hers, one of my best friends. He used to be kind of like my role model, you know? He taught me how to come up with these crazy plans. We even stole a pair of crossbows from the from a Phoenix gang. It was quite fun, but things went south. He had this thing for a noble woman, and he asked my help out of all things. I told him that he should focus on his heart and do what he thinks he likes, but he knows I am better at that kind of angle, so I went and made a few love songs for him. Of course, those failed, and he looks down again. Hers never recovered from that. His beloved found out and died, and he ran off only to become hospitalized, and I don't even know what happened to him. I don't want to know what happened to him. So much tragedy revolving my friends and family, but I hope you guys won't end up the same, right? He kind of gives this weak, forceful smile as he says this.
Hmm.
And that's not to mention, maybe you should probably know this by now. May as well, right? So, some of you may have heard me speak something other than common, and I have a reason for that. But sadly, well, it involves one particular woman that I met. He looks to the side, and then after a few dramatic moments, he looks back at them and says, "Have you ever heard of the Fancy Lady of the West, by chance?"
It doesn't ring any bells, no.
No.
Well, I suppose only people from Varrock would probably hear about her, and even then, She was kind of secretive, and for a good reason. She had this secret on her, a secret she bore down with her own bloodline, and I found out about it quite well. Let's say that she was the first to take my heart. But one day, she just said she can't stay here long, and she left, leaving me again, all alone, out there, just waiting. Kinda, his mood kinda turns darker, and his face looks emotionless as he just falls into this somewhat state of depression. Not sure how to recover from it at the moment.
Well, Kana can't really think of anything to do but just look at him with kind of a sympathetic look on her face.
After like a minute of silence, Alistair kind of speaks up. You know, when we get back to the west, we could always take a stop at Lumbridge and ask Joe King to come see what he can do for your father.
Well, I'm not certain my father would be alive by the time we get back. In fact, I was quite hesitant on taking this trip with you all. Apparently, he had something to tell me, but I fear like I do not want to know it now. I think I know what it is, and I don't think it's proper to say right now what I think it is.
Do you know what he's sick with?
Well, from what I heard, he is pretty. His entire mental and body systems aren't responding, and should he not get help soon, it might be the end of him.
Don kind of like looks down at his hands and then at Najak and says, "You know, we know some healing spells. Have doctors over in Lumbridge tried that at all?" No.
Well, I guess I should. That's. I suppose I can grace you with the name of the Lady of the West. I'm. This might spark a few bells or two. He turns to you all again and, with a serious expression, says, "Her name is Aureen, and she promised me to not speak of her, but I feel I trust you well enough to not give this information away so freely, anyways."
I've certainly had to keep a number of secrets in my time.
Same here.
Right, I appreciate it, and do come by maybe in Varrock sometime. I'm pretty sure my My sister would be happy to at least see that I have you guys, and it will be a lot easier to explain my scenario.
Well, the monastery isn't far. Relatively speaking.
Right, Edgeville. Me and hers have played quite a few pranks there. Call it the Ghost Town. It's called the Ghost Town. It's quite the sight, alright. Not as many lively people though, but it is what it is.
Well, we have been to a real ghost town.
I guess you're right, Trix. Anyways, I've been probably rambled on too long for about my personal issues. I do hope that this kind of helped with understanding me a little bit better, and may we have luck in the future.
Something
Indeed.
helped me.
Well, you're free to share, Dawn.
Yeah, since we're all sharing. Ooh, I can tell you all about Xanaris. Well, before, the Tooth Fairy happened and all that. So,
The Tooth Fairy?
yeah, it's complicated. So,
Is, is that a real thing?
of course, who do you think takes your teeth at night?
Well, I always assumed it was my parents.
What? Was Santa fake as well?
Wait, Santa is fake?
No, he's real!
Yeah, he has to be. I mean, always gets presents under the tree.
Yeah, what, do your parents do that too?
Always. Before, recently.
Well, yes.
What kind of parents do you have? Why are they spending all this unnecessary money when
This is highly illogical.
What do you mean it's highly illogical?
I mean, how would the Tooth Fairy or Santa Claus account for the socio-economic factors?
Well, I mean, teeth and Xanaris are basically currency. So,
Yes,
we're
but-
essentially making money off you people.
What?
Yeah! And Santa, I don't know how Santa works, but,
But
we just assume he
how-
works. Don't worry about it.
Why?
Just don't worry
how-
about it. Just don't worry about it.
Santa just works. That's
He
all
just
you need to
works.
know.
He's got his elves. His elves help.
Yeah,
That doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense. Perhaps there is some sort of layer reality where fiction becomes truth. It's this can't be. It makes no sense.
Hey, Peyton, buddy. You're gonna give yourself a heart attack, okay?
Listen, Peyton. Do you want to see Santa?
I believe I'm rather too old for that kind of thing.
Wait, you know Santa?
Of course.
Well,
What do you mean, of course? You know Santa? That's insane!
Yes.
I know the
See?
Tooth Fairy, but she doesn't like me that much.
Is it because of your handsome personality, or
Absolutely. Yeah,
Kinda
she's kind of a
just
stick in the mud.
stares blankly at all of this, like, what the hell are they all talking about?
What was I gonna talk about again?
You were going to tell us
Uh,
about Xanaris, and then you got sidetracked.
oh yeah, right, Xanaris.
Oh yeah,
Good place, right?
yeah. Well, back when I was the ripe age of 71, I joined this group called the Mafia. But it wasn't
71? What? How old are you?
123. Why?
What?
What?
fairies
You're
are.
old.
Yeah, fairies live to be like 300 years old.
You're pretty old, you know.
Yeah.
I'm just 21.
You're 21?
You're a
Fairy,
baby?
Excuse me.
What?
yeah.
No.
Excuse me. How do you measure time in your Home.
I look at my sundial. What do you mean?
Well, from my research, I have. This doesn't.
You don't get out much, do you, buddy?
No. Well, this place. I assume it's another plane of existence.
No, it's the moon.
It's what?
The moon.
The moon?
Well, I mean, that's what everyone's been telling me. I haven't been, challenging it. I don't have any proof.
But how could you move freely through the ether?
What? What's the ether?
This
Maybe
thing-
he uses some special.
It's the substance of the heavens.
Maybe
I-
he uses some special fungus rings. Not rings. Do you think you can pull
Fungus
up his
ring?
fungus rings?
I'm sorry. What did you say? What did you say?
Fungus rings.
You mean
So we can
fairy
use it
rings?
to- Wait, those exist? That's a
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Aren't
That's why I used to.
I
Travel
assumed
around
fairy
Xanarus.
rings were just a fancy name for a perfectly normal phenomena.
Well, they are perfectly normal phenomena. They're just, from fairies.
I mean, they didn't seem to be magical. They just sometimes mushrooms seem to form in specific patterns because of. Well, I can't actually recall
Why do you
but
think
they-
they would form in a perfect circle? Like, what? How does that naturally occur?
Well, there's a lot of perfect circles in the world, aren't there?
I mean, not really. It's kind of difficult, right?
Well,
To get a natural. I thought that was a whole thing where like natural circles don't just occur in nature. You really need to get out more, buddy. Come on.
Have you seen the moon? That's a circle.
Oh yeah, that's true. But
I think
that's
it's a
not in nature.
spheroid,
That's in
actually.
what?
Never
A
mind.
sphere.
Okay, so you are from the moon. I suppose you then measure years in. How would you measure years?
In
How
months?
would
In
existing on the moon-
seconds? I don't know how else
Well,
I'm supposed to explain that. I mean, do you guys have like a ruler for time? That's not just a sundial?
Well, we measure time by how the sphere of the sun revolves. What?
How do you see the sun rotate? Okay, buddy, I think
Does
you're
Xanarus
overthinking
have
things, you know?
seasons? Does Xanarus have seasons?
Of course it does.
Okay, so it does have seasons.
I think we've
Does it
gotten.
possess the elements of air, or are you sustained by some magical substance?
What do you mean
Alright.
magical substance? It's just air.
Narissa kind of pipes up and says, "Can you two please stop? You're ruining my precious.
You know what? I forgot my
What?
entire backstory. Just someone else go.
You're
Forget it.
ruining my precious reading moments."
Marissa,
Maybe
can you
it'd be
go?
wise to calm things down a bit.
All right, so just one more question, Fairy, before you continue.
What?
This fairy society of yours is magic common among the populace?
Well, yeah, obviously.
How common would you say?
Like we use it every day. Teleport, we
Teleport.
we use
I
it to
guess.
make people sleep with the fishes. You know.
Sleep with the fishes.
Yeah.
Ah, some sort of underwater water breathing spell. I see.
Sure, buddy. you just think to that to yourself. Anyways, I forgot my entire backstory. Narissa, how about you go?
Pass.
Come
Sorry, I
on.
didn't do it. I said, "Alright, I didn't do it." Pass, and she flips over a page.
We know
Not
that you
something
can't
that's
sleep, and that's it.
It's certainly not compulsory that you share here. So if she doesn't want to, she doesn't want to, and that's that.
Fine.
I will share that I am a discipline alongside Alcana. But we had different masters. She had Master Shy, well, I had Mistress Narcine, and she was rather instrumental in helping me grow, grow, and my attunement with the Allmother came to me as a gift. Perhaps not hers, but a gift, certainly. And that's it. That's all you are getting about me. Carry on, then.
Huh.
It is rather not relevant for you to know what makes me just yet.
Nice to know you guys were classmates, though.
I can't say it was exactly like that. I think we hardly knew each other before now.
Oh. Yeah, I can't remember anyone from fairy school either.
To be fair, you are 71. That's pretty old.
I'm 123.
So,
what?
and meanwhile, Peyton has just been frantically writing down everything that people are saying here because it's so interesting. So, Narissa, this All Mother of yours, that epithet, is it descriptive? Is there some sort of myth that presents her as the mother of all, or is it more figurative?
She looks up from her book and says, "You can." She is a being of pure light, and if you must inquire further, you will suffer her wrath for all eternity.
I see. One of those religious figures that, for reasons unknown, do not wish people to inquire about their nature. Always very good to know.
Just keep reading. Just keep reading. She kind of.
I suppose that
reads.
it. Oh gosh, I can't believe I haven't even mentioned this sooner.
What?
I suppose I could go next.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, well, I can't believe it. This is something I haven't mentioned sooner. Was, about a rather close friend of mine back home at Ashdale.
Who were they?
His name is Devon, or rather was Devon. I suppose I knew him somewhat well growing up because somebody has to go down to the blacksmiths to get the metal working you need done to upkeep your ships and whatnot. Oh. Well, I suppose that led to us being in contact a fair amount. But, well, you see, he was a little bit different. See, he never exactly had the kind of strength that was necessarily required to work as a blacksmith, you see, but he still had some metalworking talent, although in more precious metals. So he ended up apprenticing as a silversmith, and well, we kept up with one another, of course, even as our paths diverged. Was always a sweet boy, a sweet man, always rather kind. Had a nice laugh. Even when I was off at the monastery, we would regularly write to one another, keep abreast of what each other was up to.
Do you still?
Well, and right before I left for my initial studies at the monastery of St. Domus, well, and she kind of pulls down one of the cuffs of her armor to reveal a thin silver bracelet with a Saradomin star in it, although you notice that there are a few imperfections in it here or there. sort of denoting somebody who had been honing their craft, a heartfelt handmade gift kind of thing. Well, let's just say at least that's how it was, but then disaster struck my home. He was a very dear friend of mine. I'd say almost like the brother I didn't have since, well, I was an only child. But, well, unfortunately, my last memory of seeing him is, well, forever tainted with horror. See, these creatures that I've been telling you about all this time that we're going to hunt in the Isle of Juniper. Well, the truth is, I learned something rather horrible about what exactly they can do to people they get a hold of. I don't know all of the details since I haven't been able to have close contact, but, well, it seems that they were taking... Well, they were very efficient killers. They were, well, they took live people and they, were using them to make more of their number. And, well, how I learned this, she kind of looks down. I saw the process nearly completed. And, well, it ended up being him. The last thing I could really do for him as a friend was to put him out of his misery. And with that, she kind of grips the fist that the bracelet happens to be on, looks down, breathes deeply, seeming to gather herself, and then sort of looks up to face the group again. I think about that all of the time, I failed not only my town, but my best friend, and I never want something like that to happen again. No matter what the cost to me personally may be. No one should have to suffer or have to do something like that.
I'm sorry.
That sounds horrible, Arcana. I'm so
I
sorry.
can only hope that Devon is in a better place now. Somewhere in the hallowed plains where he might know peace. But of course, I can't know for sure.
I do hope that is quite so, and who knew that these backstories kind of sounded similar, huh? Guess we're just a bunch of failed romantics, huh?
It wasn't like that. And you can definitely tell that well, that kind of looks very serious right now.
Can I insight that? I want to insight that.
If you want to.
I'm not asking, I'm doing it.
Yeah, you sort of get the feeling that she's really being honest about that and how it was, just a really close friendship.
Uh-huh. Well, if I'm going to say I kind of felt the same way for hers, you know? And hey, don't let it get you down, huh? You're
I've
here
certainly had
for
many successes since then, but succeeding here would certainly lift a lot of the weight off my soul. It's just hard to not look upon those times and see, well, that twisted face that eventually ended up filling my vision. I know I should have some tolerance for witnessing those sorts of things, but the thought of that, well, it still makes my stomach churn. That's all I really have to say, though.
We're sorry. Dawn looks sad.
Narissa puts a hand over her shoulder and says, "The past had to have happened, so that the future may happen."
That's certainly what I've been clinging on hope to.
Well, I I suppose we shall see the results after this mission.
And
What?
indeed, as she says this, you look up Alcana and you can see on the horizon line the mission, made manifest before you. You saw it before from a further distance as you sailed to Kanoka, the outline of the Isle of Juniper. You can see the ridge of the sort of flat top mountain that seems to run the entire length of it. You can see kind of the traces of green on its slopes. From here, far too far away to make out any real detail. You're close to it, and there is where you might finally be able to. You're not sure if it's only to find some penance for yourself for failing Devon or to make something right for the whole world. But with that, why don't we take a little bit of a break? All right, so wait, so were we still, in the middle of this heartfelt meeting?
I think so.
Yeah, I
It
think we
depends
still are.
on. I think it depends on whether Dawn actually remembers what to say.
Nah, Don's already had his turn. We've learned enough. Unless you want Don to go into detail.
Have we learned anything, though?
Yeah, really?
We learned
Okay.
Don is an idiot. Wait, we knew that.
You already knew that.
We learned Dawn is really old, apparently.
Oh yeah, that's true. You learned his actual age. Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, so you guys want me to actually explain my backstory without any interruptions? And I look at Peyton.
And he just sort of mumbles to himself.
Don goes, okay, so when I was 71, ripe age, nice and young, I essentially joined this thing called the Mafia. And I don't know if you guys have mafias down here, but the Mafia is basically think of your guys' kingdoms. Like, you guys have kingdoms, except it's a lot smaller. Maybe like town size. And we basically constantly fight for, like territories and stuff. But the best mafia was the one that I was part of, because that mafia had the Godfather. And the Godfather was best leader off of Gielinor, because Joni is the best leader on Gielinor. But on the moon, he was the man. He was the legend. And there's this one time where he was going to a meeting, and he walked by me, and he handed me his jacket, and he said, "Hey, hang this up." I was like the talk of the town for like a week. Oh my god. But yeah, anyways. So and he looks at everyone and he says, I wasn't exactly the highest rank in the Mafia. Like, I essentially even after 123 years, I was pretty low ranking. And but thing is, I didn't really care, because I was still helping out the Godfather, and I was helping make out, like, we were essentially the hugest gang in Xanaris, and it was awesome, and we were real close to just basically taking over the whole joint. But then, basically, before all the gangs came up, we essentially had a queen, but that was a really long time ago. And well, the queen had you know how there's a dark side of the moon? Well,
Isn't that a song?
maybe. I can see a lot of songs about the dark side of the moon, but the dark side of the moon essentially has these creatures that are really bad news. You really don't want to know about them, but basically, in order to protect Xanaris, she had to essentially seal herself away at the like edges of the moon, and well, it's all a bit crazy and complicated, and it involves a lot of weird creatures that basically control your mind, but eventually, she was able to come out of her little prison, and when she came back, she really didn't like the Godfather, which is crazy because he's literally the most perfect fairy in existence, like at all. And essentially, she told him to, it was mostly the Tooth Fairy, who she was kind of like the Queen's general. Yeah, she's actually really aggressive. Like you guys like really like Tooth Fairy, but she's really not all that great. And essentially, like anyone who wouldn't bend the knee, so to speak, kind of got kicked out, and that's when I met Kavi, and you all know the rest. But yeah, that's basically where I came from. But it's crazy that, you know, I've been able to hang out with you guys, and I've been able to even get close to your guys' godfather, I mean, Joni, and yeah, it's crazy.
Peyton just blinks for a few seconds and says, Fairy,
Yeah.
very little of what you just said makes much sense.
It's all very complicated. I'm sorry if I didn't really articulate myself all that perfectly, but
I mean, not only does it seem illogical, but certain parts seem to violate the laws of nature.
well, listen, buddy. So, maybe you need to study nature a little bit. Because, I mean, all of it's true, but I mean, if it's breaking all the laws of nature, then why is it happening?
I suspect some laws will need to be rewritten.
That's what I'm saying. Hey, that sometimes laws have to be rewritten. Sometimes there are bad laws.
So this mafia thing, it's kind of like a cult, is it?
Cult? Well, we're not exactly worshipping anything. No gods or anything like that. I mean, we all worship Gothics, but that's kind of a universal thing among the mafia members.
So, the Godfather, why is he called the Godfather?
Oh, he's not actually a god. He's just, well, like, I mean, he's a godfather. That's just his, like, title. But That essentially means that he's the leader of the gang, and yeah, we like for the most part, the gangs didn't call their leaders the Godfathers; they just called them the bosses. But our boss was so good that they essentially called him the Godfather, if you know what I
So,
mean.
what happened to the nice godmother of all the fairy tales?
Godmother. He didn't have a wife.
I see.
Yeah, come on, but you can't trust all fairy tales, okay?
So is
Only the
that?
logical ones.
So wait, you mean that's just a title, Godfather?
Godfather, yeah. It's almost like how you call Jody Khan. I mean, what's a Khan? That doesn't make a lot of sense, huh?
I mean, you're not wrong.
Sick.
You might have violated a few laws somewhere, but you're not wrong.
Laws of physics or laws of naming people who are leaders of stuff?
Damn it, Don. I'm a bard, not a scientist.
All right. But yeah, that's my whole spiel.
Well,
Right.
you know, at
Dwarf
least
fairies
you're...
possess wings.
Do all fairies possess wings? Yeah. In fact,
Right,
I was a little
okay.
surprised when you guys didn't have wings. How do you get a? I mean, I guess now I know that you guys just use boats and you walk.
Well, I suspect that we might have some difficulty staying in the air given our weight, but it doesn't seem to prevent you from doing the impossible, so who knows?
One
Hey,
day I
Don.
hope to
Say
be able
that
to do
most of the
wings.
time it's not very practical to do so.
Don, do you think you can teach me to fly sometime?
Yeah. I mean,
Awesome.
you know what? You could probably use your arms.
He looks at his arms and then says, "But how do I play and fly at the same time?"
Takes a lot of practice. I left. I mean, I didn't. I never really got instruments up there, but I've seen, fairies do it. But anyways, what about you? And I look at Peyton.
What and he just sort of scratches the back of his head a bit. He just looks around at everyone. Well, I was born in the kingdom of Misthalin. I grew up in the duchy of Polonia, alongside my father and my brother, my mother. And I when I was around must have been 19, I joined the Wizard's Tower. You know, despite the bureaucracy, it's a fairly open organization. You know, you just have to submit an essay. Of course, given my upbringing, it was a wonder I could even read. But where was I? Yes, I joined the Wizard's Tower, and I've been there for quite a few decades now. Haven't really spoken to any of my family in a while.
Why not?
Oh, yeah, I'm always so busy conducting research and the like. You understand? I don't have the time to travel out into the countryside.
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah, and Besides, my brother, he doesn't really approve of what I do.
Why is that? Does he have something against wizards?
Partly against wizards, partly against me. You see, the common folk in the villages and small towns of Misthalin, or at least where I grow up, they're not very trusting of us wizards. See us as pompous and dangerous and arrogant. Arrogant me. And all manner of other nonsense about. There's some silly superstitions about wizards that I won't bore you with relating. Seems like most people would rather have the assistance of some lowly witch than a professional. My brother, of course, doesn't particularly like that I left so early. It was difficult. He says it was difficult maintaining this farm.
So, all in all, he had a pretty decent life. You know?
Yes, I suppose so. In my time at the Wizard's Tower, I've read many an interesting volume about magic, and even a few on history and religion and other sciences. Oh yes, very, very interesting.
Is that why you've been staring at me and Narissa?
Well, like I said when I joined, I was researching the connection between biological organisms and magic. It's rather interesting how these connections seem to form. Not entirely sure how it occurs. It doesn't seem to be. Well, it seems to be a genetic trait in many cases, but it seems very different from other similar cases. It's like there's, I don't know, something to it. And well, fairies are rather unique. You seem to be very magical.
Looks like you guys don't even have fairies down here. I haven't met one yet.
No, I don't think people generally see fairies. I must admit that before I saw you, I assumed you didn't exist.
Really?
So you're fairly sure you didn't see any, correct? Or some kind of works.
Well, yeah, he just said that.
Hey.
Bard, puns are the lowest form of humor.
Thank you.
Now, Kana just kind of gives a deep sigh.
And Peyton just sort of strokes his beard awkwardly, sort of tangles it around his finger. Right, so we must be getting close now.
Yes, indeed. The shoreline draws closer and closer.
We need one more story, though. How about you, Natrix?
Well, we got two. I think we got
Two
two
more.
more stories. Alistair and Notrix. You can probably share a short story between you.
Well, I don't think there's any pressing stories I feel I want to share. I don't know.
I'm sure life in Taverley's always been interesting.
Well, I suppose so, but we didn't live in Taverley itself. To be fair, my community was a more sequestered one. Well, Taverley is certainly the centre of all Druidism. Druids are spread out all over the world, Like, we heard of one in Mauritania even. Although I believe most Druids prefer to go, if they choose to travel, they choose to travel to Karamja. It's known as a bastion of the natural forces of the world. Yes, we didn't live in Taverley itself, just outside of it.
Is it like somewhere full of mushrooms? You seem to be good with those.
Yes, indeed, actually, it is. Mushrooms grow quite well there, and yes, that is why I'm more used to using mushrooms as natural ingredients than other normal plants. Well, there are lots of interesting things you can do with mushrooms that you can't do with normal plants.
Like teleport?
Well, I don't think I've ever encountered what you were talking about before, a fairy ring. Although maybe I should roll for that. No, I'd say he probably hasn't.
Hey, I'll teach you next time we get the chance, okay?
Oh no, but then we need to go to Entrana and make a Draymond start. It's going to be an effort.
We'll find them. What about your parents, your family? Anything?
Oh. Well, I suppose that you were not here for the last story time, but unfortunately my mother has recently passed away. That is actually why I chose to leave my home. I just.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She was such a big part of my life, and I just couldn't. I couldn't stay where I was without her being there. But my father, he was doing okay, but well, unfortunately, some of the more oh sorry, the word's slipping my mind. Some of the more nefarious illnesses of the mind that come from old age have started to take him, even though he's still he's still a younger person. Yes, he's being taken care of, but it is not something it is not a happy story, I'm afraid.
Sorry for asking.
Yeah, so it is fine. But
Hey, the stories strengthen our bonds together, don't you think?
yes, yes. Well, my brother, he is doing quite well for himself, I believe. I don't see him too often. He's a bit further away, but yes, he's doing quite well. Although, mother in particular was always very disappointed that he didn't quite follow the the full path of Druidism, shall we say. I guess he sometimes dabbles in things that I suppose Peyton would be more interested in, or more familiar with. But yes, my mother was always disappointed in that. She wanted him to do the same with me. Learn our our more our more delicate arts, like the special form of summoning that I use to change my form. Well, I suppose that was a good retelling.
Very interesting.
And
Glad
hey,
you still read.
we got a new detail from that. Didn't
And as Notrix finishes telling you sort of his story, your eyes naturally drift towards Alistair, kind of off in the corner of this open boat, which it's pretty difficult to sulk off in a corner, but he somehow manages to pull it off.
for some reason I feel edge.
Crawling in my skin.
Shh. That Alistair be sad. So we all, I guess, look at him and say, "Hey Al, it's your turn now, you know?"
What is there really that you don't already know? I mean, I told you the last time I came from Ardoin. I left, stopped at a few different places, Taverley, Varrock, Lumbridge, Menaphos, Asnatus, and now I'm here.
Well, you could tell about your family, your friends. Kind of like that.
Ironically, you already know one of my closest friends as I was growing.
Alright. Joachim. Well, we will get a chance to talk to him more, but anybody else in your mind?
Well, I mean, speaking of Joaquin, he did go back to Lumbridge. I actually have a cousin there who works as a cook. I stayed with him while I was in Lumbridge.
What was that guy's
Huh.
name?
What?
What was the cook's name? Don says.
Oh, his name is Alexander. I doubt you've heard of him. He's just a regular cook.
Oh yeah.
Sounds like he has great potential, you know? At least from what I heard, cooks are quite capable of cooking up gourmet meals.
Yes, that's the point of being a cook. Or
You know I can't cook.
I did.
I didn't.
Well, now you know. We've been lucky that we have this magical food popping out, because if we had to actually cook things, that would have been kind of sad for us.
Yeah. I just missed that magical freeze box.
Magical freeze box. What's that?
Oh yeah, it had a lot of berries in it. It was very important in our quest.
You're the worst.
Ah.
Sadly, it was stolen. Oh well.
Aw.
Well, I got some good use out of it at least.
Before you broke it.
I didn't break it. I just chipped it a little.
Didn't that cause the magic to dissipate faster?
I don't think so. Well, it might have, I guess. But we never found out how long it lasted anyway, did we?
I think Joe King did, but he never actually bothered sharing.
That's a shame.
But yeah, anything else?
You tell us. Anything else?
Oh, I know. Tell us about your love life.
Yeah.
My what?
You know, you must have been in a relationship or two. I mean, at least some, extra close friends. Something like that.
I know I.
I mean, the last guy I was with like that, I actually had to kill him.
Oh.
Oh.
It doesn't sound like it ended too well. I mean, the last one I was with tried to kill me.
I'm not sure if that's how you're supposed to, you know, pretend to stab people.
You know, some insects kill their mates. And Peyton just blurts this out before realizing how awkward it was.
Alcana just looks at him with this expression like, really?
It seemed relevant.
I actually do appreciate the trivia. Thanks.
You know what would be great trivia?
Well,
A great trivia would be Dawn. Give me
Huh?
a thing.
what thing?
Give me a question. Come on.
For me
Anything
to
in the
ask you?
world. Yeah, come on.
Oh, you know what? One question I had. What did your sister do?
Oh, didn't exactly expect that question. My sister she's a kind of a fighter-ish lady. She's training with a few others in places,
Mm.
and she didn't really share about the name and all that, but she's in good care of herself because she's a very strong woman.
Oh, look! Land! The land we have been sailing towards and have seen for several hours now.
And this manages to somehow grab the attention away from all of you. And you can see that now you're far enough that you would not really, unless they're specifically looking for you, gain the attentions of anyone on the mainland. And you could still feasibly be passing by the Isle of Juniper, but that you can kind of control your approach. So I want to know, Alcana, about what time of day do you try to guide the Lady Escapade to land on the Isle of Juniper, and where? What is the approach that you use for it to land?
Well, the timing I was thinking is kind of just before the break of dawn so that we sort of have a maximum amount of daylight to get stuff done in.
All right. So, I want to know, where exactly are you trying to land and from what direction?
Well, the plan was to land on the island that Jarmak sort of mentioned to us that he got on first.
I see a lot of different spots on that island being clicked.
Trying to think like which side would we approach the north, or would we try to get closer to the island, or would we try to go the opposite way?
I probably would try to go towards a northern part of that island.
Yeah, like this little tip.
Just the tip.
Just the tip.
Yeah, the tip.
God damn it.
He.
All right. So, as it gets dark, and it's a little bit difficult to navigate here, but luckily these waters seem fairly clear. You've got Narissa to kind of help guide you in the dark, and you're experienced enough at seafarer. You have enough access to different magical lights you can create that you're able to slowly guide yourself towards this this sort of finger of this island, Xenon K, to the southwest of the Isle of Juniper proper. And as you approach, for a second, you think that it started to snow. You see in the sparse magical light, who among you can cast light? Or can create magical light?
Ooh. I can.
All right. So sort of in the dim light being cast by Worsend, you see what look like little snowflakes coming down.
They're dancing lights.
Landing on the dancing lights, even better. But see these snowflakes kind of coming down over the deck of the Lady Escapade before you realize these are not snowflakes. These are little flecks of white ash. You see the waters dark, seemingly endless beneath you. You look up and you see these two bright streaks coming across the sky. They seem to sort of do these loops around each other somewhere off closer to the island, and then they both start zooming. These just bright streaks. You can't tell what's making them in this night sky, but they seem to be zooming towards you, towards the ship. What are you doing?
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Ready the cannons?
These things came from the island, mysterious things, and they're coming for our ship.
They're just streaks in the sky? Are they any colors?
Yeah. What's that?
Where are their colors?
They seem to be kind of a very light, bright orange.
How fast are they moving?
They are moving fairly fast. Why don't you make an intelligence check, Peyton?
Wait, so we're moving behind us?
Yeah, if you had to guess, you would say that they're probably moving at about 60 feet every 6 seconds.
Okay, so...
Interesting. Now, I think Peyton is going to prepare himself to cast a spell if he sees that these are a threat.
All right. So you're just preparing to cast a spell when they get closer if they seem threatening?
Yes.
All right. Coming towards you, closer towards the ship. Are the rest of you guys doing anything?
Get ready to.
Let's see.
Hmm.
Are we docked on land by now?
No, you are still sort of drifting in the water towards Xenon K.
Oh, great.
I'm hiding behind
Uh.
Alistair. Just getting ready back here.
All right. Go ahead and roll a stealth check, Don, just for funsies.
Oh shit, wait, hold on. No, that was very good! Alright, that's still good.
That's better.
All right. So you guys see it coming closer, coming closer. Anyone who feels like they're really listening for what's happening, go ahead and make a perception check.
I guess
Nope.
I'd have to be.
Thank God not.
Oh, Notrix. So Notrix, as you're watching this, these streaks coming closer towards you, you're listening to the wind blowing around you, the ash, and you hear their voices, kind of two voices chattering to each other, male voices, but they sound young. They sound like teenagers. They're speaking a language you don't recognize, but they seem to be almost laughing towards each other.
Wait. So we're hearing voices and we're in the middle of the ocean?
As these things come closer, they seem to be voices coming from these two streets.
Oh, they're coming from them. Okay.
Like two youngish male voices.
Wait, Worsen the kinda goes over to Matrix. Do they? Can you exactly hear them? Well, what do they sound like?
They sound like people for some reason.
And as you're having this conversation, it seems like they're nearly upon you. I need Worsens and Alcana to both make dexterity saving throws.
Before that, Worsen is going to try and say, hey, I guess. Try first say, hey, wait, we can settle this quietly. Just you know, let us be friends. Just don't attack.
So
Something
you
like
shut that out, Worsend?
Sure.
All right. I'll go ahead and let you make a persuasion check, but you still have to make a dexterity saving throw.
Why
Okay.
can't we be friends?
Not bad, but it probably failed because. Ooh.
All right. You shout this out, and then you just see something round and brownish hurtling right towards you. You and Alcana both sort of duck, hit the deck as these two, what look like hollowed out coconuts, hit the deck and explode into these little piles of some sort of a sticky white goo, foul smelling. And then you just hear as these couple clearly like teenage boy voices are laughing as these two streaks that a few of you, let's say Don and Notrix, both realize are turtles, but turtles unlike you've ever seen, with these flappers that are huge, like they look almost more like wings on the side of them. Flippers, not flappers, and leaving out these trails of sparks off of their back of their shells, kind of swoop down and then back up and out and away into the night sky as these two kids are just laughing at each other about, it seems, as you investigate what they left, just toss these coconuts of some kind of sticky, foul-smelling, you think, Notrix, that it might even be bird poop, onto your deck of your ship.
Well, shits, come back here!
What on the name of Sarah Doman?
But no, you see, Notrix, that these weren't the turtles who were talking. It was a couple of like just young human boys on the backs of these turtles who seem to have the voices.
How big are they?
Ah.
Wow.
Oh, that It's not quite as hilarious, but still funny.
I want I'd like Narissa and Alcana to go ahead and make intelligence checks.
I made her intelligence her dump stat, and yet it's used often. Go figure.
Narissa, as you hear these two chattering kids zooming away from you, you've heard a lot of unfamiliar, indecipherable language in your time in the East. But this, what they were speaking to each other, it's not completely familiar. It's definitely in a very different form from what you've heard before. But they seemed to be speaking some very archaic dialect of Icenic.
Oh.
Wait,
Wait
wait
a minute.
Oh, we just had the same realization, did we not?
Yes, we did. That is very strange.
Indeed. How would they even know such an ancient version of this language?
I mean, it does seem like this island is pretty well cut off from the rest of the world. Who knows what sort of things could be here that most people would not know about from isolation.
I kind of sympathize with them a little bit. But regardless, we must be careful. That was quite close.
At least they just
Good,
seemed to be some immature kids.
Little children. They need to learn some manners. Do you not agree?
Yeah.
Yes, that's not exactly the kind of thing you go doing to some kind of random stranger you've never met before.
I wasn't mentioning me, but yes. Yes.
So,
yes,
Ron,
it is.
out of curiosity,
Yes.
would you say that Major Image would be able to create an area of effect invisibility? Because I can create pretty much any sort of phenomenon with it, and I figured just making us appear like empty air would be something like that.
I mean, yeah, you could definitely use it to make the area where you guys are standing look exactly the same as it would without you guys standing there.
Yeah, I think Peyton is going to do that to the area around him.
Just kind of right in the middle of the boat.
Yes.
All right. So is Narissa, you and Alcana are having this conversation, and suddenly you can't see each other, and it looks like the boat is empty.
Huh?
Oh look,
And
I appear to have disappeared again.
Peyton uses message to tell them that he has made them invisible so that they will not be targeted by the youths.
Well, I suppose that is something.
How far is the range of this? Like, how far can I fly before I become uninvisible?
I think 20 feet.
Wait,
yeah,
so
should
you're
be.
saying the entire boat is like 50 feet, correct?
Yeah, but, you guys would all probably be gathered around the mast.
So if I were to say mimic the illusion into another minor illusion, like continue it, would it be possible? I think not with this minor illusion. In which case, never mind. But
Would it be possible to do what?
well, continue off the, make
No.
some point. Of course not. Why would it?
Or,
My failure.
I know, Don can cast invisibility and try to, like, get closer look at these. Well, how far away are they right now? They totally, like, bail?
Yeah, they bailed, zoomed off like into the night sky.
Okay, yeah, so they're just a bunch of freaking kids. But, yeah, I mean, looks like they're gone. Don't have to worry about them anymore.
How big were these turtles? Did they look big enough to hold like a full-grown person, or were these kids like able to do it because they're smaller?
No, they look like they could probably hold a full-grown person. Like with the brief glimpse that Natrix got of them, they were probably about their shells were probably at least 5 feet across.
Well,
Not to mention the very large flippers.
poor turtles. They're just taking them for a fucking ride. The poor things.
So,
Probably like, what the hell's going on?
did they actually do any damage to the ship, or?
No.
They were just being annoying, it sounds like.
You dropped a dookie.
Hey, Worthend, can you prestidigitation this away? It kind of stinks.
Am I your personal maid to you?
Go
Yes.
clean it up, Worsend.
Ah, okay, Mom. He kind of jokingly, sarcastically says, and does prestidigitation with this, like, this expression like he doesn't want to, but he is kind of forced to do this job.
Yeah. You clean up the deck of all of this bird poop and shards of this very thin-skinned coconut. And the Lady Escapade continues its journey towards Xenon K, seemingly unmolested for the rest of it. As you pull closer, you can see that it seems to be kind of this wide, low, sandy beach. A few palms kind of growing out of the sand, a few scrubby grasses, but beyond, just into the darkness, it seems to be completely full of this dense, tall timber bamboo. And you can hear it even before you debark from the boat, just gently creaking in the wind, like just a million old houses here.
Mm.
So do you guys pull the boat onto the shore, onto the beach?
Oh, yes.
I don't see why we wouldn't.
All right. You
Remember?
very carefully, batten down the sails and with a very gentle glide push this luckily flat-bottomed boat sort of on to the gentle slope of the beach. As you get out of the boat, do you do anything to prepare it, to try to moor it?
I'd imagine that Alcana's kind of worked on, like, this boat is, like, at least it's some similarities to the kind of, like, fishing rigs she would have worked when she was younger. Perhaps she would do something along those lines.
All right. What, just like take some lines and find like a rock or a post or something natural nearby?
Something like that, yeah.
All right.
Does the boat have an anchor?
It does not. But it's, as I said, a lightweight boat. It's easy enough for Alcana. Get some of the spare lines. There's probably like a sort of a jagged formation of some kind of lightweight volcanic looking rock around. Moor it there. As you all debark from the boat, step onto these soft, sort of grayish sands of the beach in this nighttime, the pre-dawn, looking towards the dark bamboo forest in front of you. We'll go ahead and end the session.